Starting. Starting.
Alert.
Okay, this is second start. Let's see if we're live. We should be live. It says that we have a 18 seconds worth of lapse time. So, there are a few people waiting. Oh, hey, somebody's on. But it says nobody's watching, but Gumby Goo Goo is on. So, yeah, Gumby Goo Goo, I think, yeah, we just interact. Actually, I don't know if I responded. I meant to respond to you on Instagram. But thank you for your comments on our last photo. So this is working good, I think. Can you hear me okay? Are things working the way they're supposed to? I hope they are. Pop out chat so we can see better.
Okay.
Okay, so we just spent, okay, good. It works. We just spent the last 2 weeks in Turkey, and now we're back. We're back in, actually, we're back at the same place where we did our last live chat, right?
I don't know. You had a different name on that, or the podcast one. Was the podcast one the last one?
I think so. Podcast episode 10.
Kavala. We're not in Kavala.
No, we were definitely not there. I think the last time we were trying to do a live stream, we were also here, and we tried to use their Wi-Fi, and then we had some problems, and then we decided to not use their Wi-Fi. Went back to our own thing.
Don't sleep on my phone, Dan.
So yeah, we're back. This is back in Greece. This is the city of Thessaloniki, which is the second largest city in Greece. So if you guys been following Marlene's Instagram stories or on our alternate YouTube channel and our Instagram photos, you guys would know that we went to Turkey and just came back. We're going to do a separate podcast episode about just like the overall experience being in Turkey. But we will definitely, be more than happy to discuss everything about Turkey during this live stream.
Yeah, answer any questions.
Yeah, this is more like a free form type thing that we could just chat. Just because in Turkey, the internet connection, the cell service was great. The cell service was fine. There's plenty of towers. We had connection everywhere we went, but we just didn't get free Wi-Fi everywhere we went. And because we were limited on how much data we had, we weren't able to do any live streams, and we weren't able to upload any videos. I mean, I think we could have if we budgeted everything, but we just didn't want anything unexpectedly come up that required a lot of data for us to have to
We did a lot of driving, because we drove pretty far to get to Cappadocia.
We did.
That was a serious drive for us.
We probably drove more across Turkey than we have all the rest of Europe.
Nah.
Is that possible? I mean, I want to say that's a possibility.
Okay.
Just because we took so long to go from Croatia to Greece, and it's not very far.
Oh, from Croatia, not from Belgium.
Even from Belgium to Croatia, yeah, that was 3 days of driving. 3 days of driving every day, but still, I don't think it's that far. Whereas in Turkey, we did a big loop. It went probably past the middle.
Mm-hmm.
To the just slightly to east side of central Turkey. So, yeah, I think if not more, close to being as much. So, and I know this may not be the best time for everybody to do live stream because I'm guessing if you're on the West Coast, it's noon. You're probably out eating lunch at work. If you're on the East Coast, it's Friday afternoon. You're probably trying to wrap up your work and go home, but that's the time we have. Yeah, the Turkey thing, the fear factor, this is something, and we only have a few people on right now, but I think it's interesting that you guys should hear this. When we first got into Turkey, we actually had a pretty difficult border entry. Not for any like bad reason. It's just because when we went into the border, they usually don't see cars from the United States. In fact, they may have never seen a car with California plates, and they may not have seen many cars outside of Europe. To be honest with you, because all Europe uses the form factor of day, month, year in the way that displayed dates on their paperwork. So when we brought our registration to the guy at the border, he looked at it and he's like 4/2/19, and of course they didn't speak any English at the border, so we had to do a lot of gesturing and some Google translating. So he's like, from what I understand, he's like, this is expired. This expired on February, the 4th of February 2019. And I'm saying like, no, this expires next month in April 2nd, 2019. So there was a lot of like trying to figure this out. Well, how do I know? And I said, well, look, there's a date, another date on here that says 6/19. So you know that goes month before day. So finally, we were able to sort that out. And then, you know, somebody came that spoke a little bit more English, was like, okay, you can go, but don't go past the date. Which is fine. We weren't planning on going past the day anyways. But that was probably like an hour and a half at the border. Much longer border crossing than anyone we've done so far. And we've not done a ton. We've done maybe like 4 or 5 border crossings, just because all of the EU countries from Western Europe and then like Central Europe, there's no borders if it's EU. But that was like one rough thing that we got in. And then we drove to Istanbul, which is crazy busy. Istanbul is what, like 10 million people?
There's a lot.
There's a lot of people, a lot of traffic, and
I never want to drive through there again. It's
I
crazy.
mean, we'll probably drive through just as crazy, maybe even crazier, or not crazy, but busier cities.
Yeah.
But I think it's just the way that the situation was. People were kind of driving all over the place, and it's like a different country, different culture. But as far as you're saying, like, did it live up to the Istanbul and Asia hopes? Yeah. I mean, this is really eye-opening. It's like a totally different experience than we've ever experienced. First of all, like, we'd never been to a mostly Islamic, mostly Muslim country. Even though Turkey, technically, and it's been changing, actually, this aspect of Turkey. But traditionally, when they became Turkey from the Ottoman Empire after World War I, Turkey was really proud to be a secular country, that they weren't an Islamic country. So people could, you know, believe in whatever they want. King Brian Castro, hi, how are you? So, I was just talking about,
beer,
oh,
Dan.
thanks. Oh, this is Turkish beer.
Sure.
So, Turkish beer. Oh, I don't know if you can see this real good. And
What's different about it, Dan?
look at this. Look at this sweet dust cap on the top.
See?
Aha! Look at that. No gross stuff on the top of your beer. So, beer in Turkey is actually quite expensive, even though everything else is really cheap. I guess I'll go back to what I was saying, is that they're going from a proud to be a secular country to favoring Muslim as a religion for the country, but they're still secular. Like in my last Instagram post, that says something about, you know, they've jailed a lot of journalists for speaking out against the government. In fact, more so than even North Korea within the last 2 years. So when we were there, like, we were a little concerned. Like, we don't want to say anything bad about Turkey publicly, because I feel like they're tracking every move that we make. Because when you go in the country, they get your passport and then they register your car. And when you drive around Turkey, you gotta have this tag on your car that gets scanned everywhere you go. So they know where you are. They know where you go. When you get a cell phone, even a temporary one, you give them your passport and then they write down. And then who knows where that information goes. So I know they're tracking us. So, let's see. Lauren. Hi, Lauren.
Hello.
Kids liking the Europe adventure as much as the U.S. ones? I think about the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean...
I still want to do the
What
same
do you guys
things.
think? Do you guys like traveling in Europe as much as U.S.? More or less or the same?
Less.
You like what more?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. How about
They're
Luca?
not sure.
Luca! Luca!
He's probably wearing headphones. We asked him to be quiet every time we're on the live stream. So anyways, so this is another thing. They were proud to be a secular country, but so for a long time there were mosques, there were churches, there were Christians, there were Muslims, and in fact, the Ottoman Empire was it primarily? We just learned about this with the kids. I think it was like,
World War One when
yeah.
it stopped.
Yeah, during the Christian Crusades, hundreds of years ago, the thing that they were trying to do is they were trying to like spread Orthodox Christianity all through that region. So that was like, there was a lot of persecution, there was a lot of different things that happened, but obviously the Ottoman Empire, they had sultans and they were Islamic, they were Muslims, but because when it became, there were the people that succeeded the Ottoman Empire are the ones that created the country we know today as Turkey, didn't want that kind of rule. So they created a republic, and where the people rule. So they wanted to give the people the power, but that's been eroding, So the president that they have now, for example, it used to be it's kind of like a figurehead position as the president, and there was like this other executive position. Since he's been in power, they've made some referendums to their constitution so that they consolidated those two positions. So now the president has both of those roles. And he even created, he got rid of a lot of the judicial checks and balances so that some of the things that he did couldn't be sued by their judicial system. So that was kind of a thing, a few things that are eroding like people's liberties. And then obviously like this, for example, is 10 lira in Turkey. In fact, it's probably 10 lira everywhere you go. Every store that we went was 10 lira. And that's almost $2. In Greece, which is a much more expensive country, a beer this size, about the same quality, is like 70 cents euro, which is less than $1.
Yeah.
So this is more than double the price for a beer. And a lot of restaurants don't serve alcohol, and and a lot of people there just don't drink as much, which is probably a good thing. But at the same time, it's there because of the religion. And also, one of the things that really sort of got me thinking was when I started to do some research while I was in the country. I realized I'll just go through my typical, like, okay, what's this? Click on, search in Google. Okay, click on the first link. A lot of time it's Wikipedia. The entire Wikipedia website is blocked in Turkey. That's as of two years ago.
They blocked Twitter for a while, and that came back.
Yeah, so they were really trying to suppress the voice of the people. And I think, when those kinds of things start to happen, you get a little suspicious of what the government is up to. But when we were there, we didn't want to say these. Roger Wu just gave us $5. Are you kidding? Thank you, Roger. That's really awesome of you.
Yeah, it's nice. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, if you have any specific questions, Roger, you'll get first dibs for now. But let me finish what I was saying.
You're our favorite watcher. Just kidding.
For now, of these people that are on,
No.
Roger's our favorite. But okay, so it was kind of interesting to see why they did it. And outside of the jailing of the journalists and then blocking of Wikipedia, and they blocked, I think, YouTube for a while. They blocked Twitter for a while. You just don't feel like that you can speak up. So we didn't actually feel like that we can say whatever we wanted on social media.
We did our first post like, hey, we got to Turkey. It took a while to get through the border because of our American date system that's unique to us.
Nothing bad.
Nothing bad, but it was also, you stated what happened to us. And, then
I made it sound like their border was difficult. So I suppose you could say that's bad.
And then somebody from Turkey piped up and left a comment which said, be careful what you say, they can jail you here.
Which I don't think they would have jailed us because...
But it made us conscious of it.
Yeah. And I think it was maybe, I wouldn't say it was a mistake, but we didn't know what we were getting ourselves into when we drove into Turkey. We're like, the first stop is going to be Istanbul. And I'm like, okay, Istanbul, that sounds cool. I want to see all of that anyways. And then we thought, let's just go and see how we feel. And if we don't feel great, if we feel like it's not worth going more, then maybe we'll turn around. But Istanbul ended up being like the most crazy place we've ever seen. The most people, the most like, people looking at us kind of weird.
It was probably not the best choice as first city in Turkey because it was so huge and overwhelming.
Yeah, if you don't know what to expect.
If we don't know, yeah.
But we walked around all over Istanbul, no problems.
No problems.
But it was the country where we came across the least number of English speakers. So the language barrier was more significant. It didn't help that we were, for some reason, when we were there for the first week in Turkey, we decided to catch up on Homeland, the TV show. I don't know if you guys ever watched that, but it's about like the CIA, like fighting terrorists in the Middle East. And technically, Turkey is the Middle East, but and they talk about like, oh, the CIA chief in Istanbul, or you don't want to be in Pakistan, you want to be in Istanbul because it's safer. But it's like the fact that they keep bringing up Istanbul made us feel like this is not the kind of show that the storyline of the show is not what we want to be associated with our current location. Okay. Oh, Roger says, enjoy your videos. We travel with our kids in a Sprinter too. Just haven't been as brave as you guys venturing to Europe. Want to buy your neck? Oh, thank you. Thank you, Roger. Well, in Turkey, it would buy your donation to us will buy us 2.5 beers. But now we're in Greece, and it's going to buy a few more. Appreciate it. And we'll get the kids some juice. Yeah, you're in a Sprinter too with kids. That's awesome.
Yeah, how many kids are you traveling with?
Yeah, tell us more about where you're from, your travels, and stuff like that. We always love to hear that.
If you want to. No pressure.
Right. For sure.
We're oversharers. You don't have to be.
Okay, so...
You don't want this? Your hands aren't cold? Sure.
This is from Marfa, Texas. El Cosmico. What does your koozie say?
My search for endless summer. It's not going so well here.
Wait, is this is a...
It's like my...
Is this a sticker on Instagram stories?
No, it's on my backpack. Same thing.
Oh, it's the same thing. Yeah. Somebody made it.
Yeah.
So when we were in Istanbul for the first like 4 or 5 nights, we stayed at the same place, which was a really convenient place. We were able to walk everywhere from there, but to walk to the Blue Mosque, to walk to the Grand Bazaar, and all that cool stuff, it was still a walk though. Like if we go out and do that one day, it would be like a 5.5 mile day of walking.
Yeah, every day when we come back from our adventure, we load up the health app on my iPhone, and everybody takes a guess. How many miles do you think you walked today?
Yeah, there were 2 5+ mile days.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Which is a lot for us. I know some of you guys would jog, 5 miles before 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock, some of you, but not us. So the day that we got into Istanbul too, I will say, the drive was crazy, and then to find the campground where we were at was also difficult. If you look at the map, Istanbul is kind of split into the Asia side and the Europe side by the Bosphorus Strait, which is like the continent is split between that body of water. The Bosphorus Strait separates the Black Sea from the Mediterranean Sea. There may be some other sea too. It may have a different name before it becomes a Mediterranean. But there's a few ways to get across to the Asia side. The one that's further south is an underwater tunnel, which is right by the place we stayed at. When we're driving our van, trying to get to the campsite, which is right next to the road that goes to the tunnel, we got to the part on the road where we were about to go into the tunnel. I didn't know if there was going to be an exit, so then we're driving like, we don't want to go across. We're not ready to go across, first of all. Second of all, the tunnel is too short. The tunnel was 2.8 meters. They had a limit of 2.8 meters. And our van is a little bit over 3 meters. So as we're going, traffic is really thick. I couldn't get out. I'm like, I don't know if there's a way out. Finally, just in the nick of time, just before everybody started going into the tunnel, there was an exit. Probably designed for, you know, people like me who get lost. So I was able to ditch out and then turn around at the same spot. And just so happened, as you turn around and go down the other way, that was our campsite.
But there were so many parts in Istanbul where we were driving down the street and then there was a little bridge and it says 2.8 meters on it. And we have to like back out.
We didn't have to back out any of them.
No, we almost went and won the first time and then we had to turn around.
Yeah, we turned around. We were able to turn around.
But there's so many of those.
One guy had to back out.
Yeah, one guy was like, I think he's gonna be stuck.
Yeah, he went all the way up to the just under the bridge, and then like he realized he couldn't go. So then there were a couple cars behind him. Luckily, let him go. He was a local. He wasn't one of us travelers, foreigners. Sharon's here. Woohoo! She made it.
You're late.
Cheers. Well, I don't know. It's still daytime over there, so not gonna cheers. Well, you can cheers us with whatever you're drinking. So yeah, that was our first week in Turkey, which was really interesting, really cool. But after we were there for like 5 or so days, we felt like we got the hang of this, you know.
Or we couldn't walk anymore.
It started to set in. Yeah, but we also wanted to go and do some stuff. So we decided to go across. Roger's from Carson.
Oh, that's
wow.
right next to.
Cool.
That's IKEA we go to.
Yeah, that's
I grew up in San Pedro.
That's real close to where we spent our time when we were in California. Oh yeah, my brother has a '07 road trek. Baja up and down the West Coast. Awesome. That's cool.
Yeah, we miss Baja.
Yeah. Mexican food.
Yeah.
We need Mexican food. It's really hard to find good Mexican food here. And the reason why we had to leave Turkey so quickly is because it's, as you guys know from the U.S., those of you that are from the U.S., it's spring break coming up. Some people are in spring break now. Some people are in spring break next week. And then maybe the week after that. Mm-hmm. Our good friends from college have a couple kids. They're coming to Europe. She's always wanted to go to France, go to Paris specifically. So they're going to spend a week in Paris. So they wanted us to meet them. And of course, we didn't know where we were going to be, but we knew pretty quickly that we weren't going to be in Paris this time of year.
Yeah, next year.
So we knew we were going to be in Greece, so we booked a flight from Athens to Paris. Tuesday or Wednesday of next week. So that's why we had to leave Turkey and then start making our way to Athens. Our original plan was to get to the Mediterranean coast of Turkey and then try to get on a ferry that'll take us directly to Athens. But there were some ferry problems.
It was a lot of trouble. More trouble than was worth.
And we didn't want to risk not having
missing our flight.
Missing a boat and then missing our flight and having to drive all the way around.
Yeah.
When you were in Turkey, did you ever think about going to Göbekli Tepe? I don't know where that is. Should we have known? We didn't have a lot of time. So I'll tell you what happened. We were there in Turkey, and so we were in Istanbul. We spent about a week there. And by the time we left there, we only had about like maybe 10 days left. Maybe a little bit less than 10 days left before we had to get back to Athens for our flight.
Let me try
and then when we found out that that we couldn't book we couldn't guarantee that we would be able to get on a ferry to go from the port out just outside of Izmir, Turkey, to Athens, and realized we have to drive back the way we came and all the way around, which is a really long drive, and we hadn't driven those many miles in a short period of time up until we got into Turkey. So we're like, okay, this is gonna take us like 5 days.
We missed that.
I'll go to ruins.
It's ruins, but that's in
Yeah.
that's like right above Syria, so that was
Yeah, that was
more
much
east.
farther. That's much farther than we would have had time for.
Yeah,
But we did see.
It looks really cool.
We did see some cool ancient, like, dwellings that are carved into rocks. But there's a lot more to see. Oh, she got in there already. Okay. There's definitely a lot more to see in Turkey that we didn't get to see with the short time that we were there. So...
It needs more time, and we didn't have
Yeah.
it because we weren't sure if we were going to go to Turkey as we were coming to Greece. It's like, this is our chance. We're going to go to Turkey. We got to go now. And we needed to research a little bit more, and we made a...
And we were moving really, really, really slowly up until we went into Turkey.
Yeah.
So, for example, where we were last night, and then we left there this morning and got here, we kind of took our time in the morning, and then when we got here, we had plenty of time to do laundry and, organize and do all that. On the way to Turkey, what we drove today took us 2 days. Today we just did it in 1 day. So we're definitely feeling more comfortable driving more miles, especially while we're in Turkey. The farthest we went east was Cappadocia, which is in central Turkey. We drove through Ankara to get to Cappadocia, and then from Cappadocia, when we left, we knew that we had a very short amount of time to get back. So then we drove some really long days. It took us 3 driving days to get out of Turkey, but we spent 2 nights in one place, which was a town called Bergama, north of Izmir. And it was cool because we had connected with another American family who's traveling in Europe in an RV right now, but they've been sort of spending years living in different parts of the world. So somebody told them that we were in Turkey, and when they got to Turkey, so then we got to connect, which was really cool.
We actually met up with 3 other travelers and a local Instagram friend in Istanbul. So we met with 4 sets of people in one country in 2 weeks, which is really awesome.
Well, and also we had an opportunity to meet a friend of ours that we met in North Carolina.
We messed up.
We messed up because our friend Brenton, who we met in Asheville, has a sister that lives like 45 minutes from Istanbul on the coast of the Black Sea, and she messaged us through Facebook. But you guys know how Facebook is. If you have somebody who messages you who's not on your friends list, it goes in this other like hidden inbox.
It's like, when do you look at that? Every randomly once in a while. So we saw that just a couple hours ago.
We just saw it, and it would have been really cool, to go to a smaller town. Yeah. Especially having people there that live there and can kind of show us around. But we did meet one really cool woman who's born and raised. Families lived in Istanbul for many, many generations, and she showed us around some really cool places.
Places we wouldn't have ever been to.
Got us onto the bus. We took the bus to some places. Showed us how to use the metro system.
Ate some local food.
Walked through a cemetery. Went to a place where she likes to go and hang out with good views of the city at night. And then
I'm laughing because when we were walking out of the cemetery at night, it was like downhill, and Luca tripped. But instead of tripped and just like stopping, he's like tumbled down the cemetery steps. Or
very animated. But he's not hurt.
He's not hurt, but
hurt.
I really like bloopers, and that was like one of the best ones.
But it was cool, and then when they left, they made sure that we were at the bus stop, taking the train back, or taking the bus back. But then we got on the bus, we're like, oh, we're going the wrong way. We had to get out of the bus, go across the street, hop on the other bus, and go all the way back to our place at night, which was totally fine. We actually walked around at night like 3 different times. The first night we got there, that night, and then the night before we left. So, yeah, it it was very, very interesting, and having somebody show us around would have been really cool. But you know, it's unfortunate we didn't see our friend Brenton's sister's message.
Yeah.
But hopefully we'll go back to Turkey.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah, and Turkey is also the first country so far that needed a visa. That you needed to apply and carry a visa with you when you went into the country, because obviously it's not part of the EU. And
it was an easy process. It just cost like $20.
It's all done online. Yeah, and it's instant pretty much. I can imagine that if you have some records, if you have some record on your background check that showed up negatively for whatever reason, that may take longer, or you may get denied. But I've not heard of anybody getting denied, and it's $20 a person.
Yeah. That's
So
like one of the things
even
you gotta,
kids too. Kids needed it.
So you gotta have an e-visa, which is $20 a person. Our cell phones that we got were kind of expensive compared to the rest of the EU. Our SIM cards.
Yeah, but I think that's because we got them in Istanbul.
We probably got ripped off.
Yeah.
And we also had to pay for a toll road sticker.
Yeah.
And then all
which
the
is a new
beers
thing
cost
within the
way
last
more.
couple of years.
And beers cost way
Beers,
more.
and also we had to buy separate liability insurance.
Yeah, so it was like $110
That was expensive too,
or something.
110 euros, because the shortest amount of shortest period we could buy insurance is 90 days. Matteo from Italy. Hi, Matteo.
Hello.
Italy, you know, Italy is one of these places that is really big and that needs its own time. When we first started thinking about it, we're like, hey, we're gonna go Eastern Europe 1 year, up to Scandinavia, and then Western Europe the second year, and then that's all of it. But then then there's Italy. Well, then obviously Austria, you know, Slovenia, and
we'll visit
all the stuff in
Croatia
the middle.
again. So before we go to Croatia or after Croatia,
So we're thinking Italy would be
one of the last stops.
next summer.
Yeah.
Yeah, which
or
I think would be
spring
great.
or fall.
Next fall.
Not summertime. We're trying to avoid
Right. It'll be after. Actually,
crowds.
yeah, that's true, because the Italians go vacation somewhere else, but then other people come to Italy. So, but thank you for joining us. Welcome. Ray, how can I give you money? Super Chat, I think. If you look at Super Chat, I think that's how Roger did it.
I don't know.
But, you know, don't worry about it. I appreciate the thought. You can also be a patron on our Patreon, which is patreon.com/mollymish. You know, we are trying. We're not trying as hard as we should. We're trying to really give our patrons some like real benefits,
Yeah.
but
We just can't figure out. We've done postcards for, I don't know if it says patrons. I don't know. I'm so confused.
patron,
The patrons
the patrons.
of Patreon.
Yeah.
Can't it be the same word? It'd be way easier.
I'm not involved with their business decisions.
We've sent postcards. So
Yeah.
if you're a patron on Patreon, you'll get a postcard.
Yeah, and if you guys have sent us your address and you're a patron, let us know when you get your postcards.
Yeah. We
In
sent
the
them
mail.
out. Where did we send them out?
We sent them in Albania.
Barat.
Yeah. So we sent them a few weeks ago now. I assume it should be
before
there.
Valentine's Day, so it's been a month.
Yeah, it's been a month. Should be there. If not yet, it will be there soon. So, yeah. So that's what sort of Turkey. I mean, we really wanted to go to Cappadocia, but when we were in Istanbul, we were telling people we're going. They're saying you should go here, should go there. But I think everybody just assumed that Cappadocia is like a super touristy place. And it even seemed like the local didn't have a huge desire to go, because when we told our friend who's from there to go to Cappadocia, and then you know, they didn't say that, oh yeah, that'll be great. She didn't say, oh, it's beautiful or anything like that. She just told her friend. She brought her friend with her too, who's living in Turkey, but she's originally from Tripoli, which is where?
Africa,
no.
Libya.
Libya, yeah. She has a Libyan friend from Tripoli, which is another country that I think is difficult for us to visit.
Yeah, as U.S. citizens.
Yeah, you know, A U.S. passport used to be the gold
Well,
standard for travel.
But
Not anymore.
I can enter as a Croatian citizen, and if you update your Taiwan passport, we could visit countries that.
We could fly there.
Well, do they still know that we're U.S. citizens, though?
Yeah, no, they wouldn't. I don't think.
No, by our accents. I'll just speak Croatian, and you'll just speak Chinese, and then
we'll be like, we got married somehow without knowing how to talk to each other.
And then we can't talk to the kids either. It's totally normal.
Yeah, well, we wouldn't. It'd be still hard to visit with our car because our car is still a U.S. plated car, and it still sticks out like a sore thumb. Yeah. So that's the other thing I was worried about too. Is like, I asked some people on this group that we belong to on Facebook. We said, has anybody had experiences or know anybody who's driven through Turkey with a car that has a U.S. license plate? If so, let us know how it is. Do you get pulled over? Do people hassle you? Are there any problems? Nobody has seen it. Nobody has heard it. We didn't see any. People there couldn't believe it that we were driving a U.S. car there. The two North American people, a couple from Canada, they had their vehicle there, but it was plated. Their plate was from Canada, Alberta, Canada. Mm-hmm. Which even with the Canadian plate, you're more neutral. Like you're not looked at as the quote unquote imperialist pigs of the United States. But Roger's from Taiwan too. That's killer cool. Yeah, I used to live in Taiwan as a kid. I came to the United States until I lived there till I was 12. I came to California when I was 12. So anyways, and then the other family that we met, a couple years older than us. Their kids are a couple years older than our kids. They have 2 kids. They're in RV, except their RV was bought in France, so it had French plates. So they don't drive around sticking out like a sore thumb like we do. So we didn't know anybody. So that was another thing that was always in the back of my head, is that what do we look like driving down the road? And when we go past like a military checkpoint or a police checkpoint, are they more likely to pull us over or less? I don't know. But it turns out like we probably drove 22,000 miles, roughly. Maybe a bit more, maybe a bit less, right around there, 2,000 miles through all of Turkey. We didn't get pulled over once. We saw other people get pulled over, but we didn't get pulled over once.
There weren't as many foreign plates in Turkey compared to the rest of Europe.
Yeah.
Everybody was from Turkey.
Maybe it's because I think there are a lot of people that are afraid to go to Turkey still. Not everybody. People that we talk to, anybody who we've talked to that have gone to Turkey have loved it. But maybe that's just like a self-selecting group. RV Life is here. Welcome. We just watched the playback of Camping Car Joa's live stream, and I remember that they said hi to RV Life.
Oh.
He's the one that told us about them.
Okay.
But
yeah, it sucks what happened to them.
Yeah, it's terrible because we had always heard about. So if you guys don't know, Camping Car Joa is a Korean couple who drove from South Korea. They shipped it to Russia. They shipped the car to Russia, I think. They drove across Russia, Mongolia, and now they're in Europe. And we've always heard about this danger of rest stops in France. Like you're not supposed to overnight there because everybody's car gets broken into. A couple days ago, or maybe yesterday, they posted that we were robbed. And I was like, and it was bad. I was like, I don't know what happened. And this is when we're spending time with the other American family. World Towning, yep. They're World Towning here.
And we spent time with Live, Work, Play.
Yep.
And every single one of them
had a break-in.
While they're sleeping or in the middle of the day. And it's just like... And
it seems like it's inevitable.
It's going to happen. We're going to get broken into.
Or there's going to be at least an attempt.
So what we did yesterday, before we crossed the Turkish border, we had extra liras, is we bought some metal chains and metal equipment to install on our doors. Because before we just have we have a
cam buckle nylon webbing strap, like the one that you use to like lash down a surfboard on your roof rack. So we were using that to kind of lash up the door by the plastic door handles that you open and close your car with on the inside. So it does a pretty good job. Like when I forget that I have them locked and I try to open my door, I can't open it. But I guess what'll happen too is they'll break the window, and then they can cut that nylon strap, or they can just kind of like shake it so hard that it can rip the plastic.
That's what happened to the American family. They had that same strap, and they shook the door enough, and they broke in that way. And
they lost like laptops, hard drives, or cameras, or drone. They lost the drone. But
then two of the three people that we talked to, it happened to them while they were sleeping, and they had no idea that.
Who didn't?
Well,
World Towning weren't sleeping.
They weren't sleeping. They were awake.
Right.
But so it's just scary.
No, they weren't in the car.
They were in the car. But it's scary to think somebody can break into your car while you're sleeping. You don't hear them.
And this is where like the whole gassing thing comes in.
Like,
people
how could
say
I
that
not
they're
wake
gassed.
up because I must have been gassed.
So we don't know how much we believe the whole. So the gassing thing is like they say that they pipe like these noxious gases into your car, so that you can't wake up, and that's how they come in and like steal your stuff.
Without you knowing.
I just think that people are deeper sleepers than they think. Yeah. You know, so that's really in the back of our minds now. Like, we don't want to deal with that, and obviously it's not our choice when it happens, but we want to be as conscious as we can. It was really a bummer to see that happen to another traveler, one that RV Life just turned us on to recently. Yeah, we watched they had a 2.5 hour live stream. We came to the campground here at Thessaloniki. They have free Wi-Fi here, so we were able to finally stream some YouTube videos. So yeah, that was difficult, and it's hard to to see that. And I hope this is not like I don't look back at this live stream months from now and say, "Oh, look,
but it's making us try more, hard enough." Less complacent. Like,
yeah, we gotta be more vigilant.
We're not gonna go to rest stops in France because a lot of times it happens there.
Right.
Sometimes it happens in a campground. You just never know.
Yeah, so, not everybody's break-in is at a rest stop in France, although it does seem like a lot of them are.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
We'll remember.
We'll try. We'll try our best. And then we'll definitely shuffle our gear to the point where, even if they do break in, we have our stuff placed in a way that it can't be a quick smash and grab type situation.
But you open up the driver, the passenger door, and everybody stores, like in a van, you shuffle all your stuff to the front seat. And
yeah.
The thieves know that. Where else are you going to put your stuff, though? Because you're sleeping in the other part. So.
Yeah, well.
To be more conscious, figure it out.
Luckily, our van is pretty long, so if we just bring it back there near us, it's harder. But we're gonna chain everything up. RV life.
Don't bring up those 3 words.
We have pizza. In fact, we had pizza. We had Domino's pizza when we were in Istanbul. Albeit, only the crust was similar. The toppings were different.
I don't even think the crust was
We had
similar.
Domino's twice.
It was good enough.
We had Domino's in Istanbul, just by ourselves. And then we had Domino's again with World Towning. Yesterday? No, 2 days ago. 2 days ago in the town that they were at. In-N-Out, yeah, you got me there.
You're kind of wearing your In-N-Out kind of Target rip-off shirt.
This is a Target shirt that the kids got me. Thank you, Sharon. We'll need it. I mean, I wouldn't worry about us as the people that are traveling. Yeah, definitely. It feels like there are more RV break-ins in Europe than there are in the U.S. Yeah. Somebody said something. Or I think it was the Camping Car Joa person, the man. What's his name? Mark?
I think so.
He said, Big Duke X says hi. Hey, Big Duke.
He's the guy from San Pedro, yeah?
Who? Who's
No?
Mark?
No, Big
No.
Duke X. He's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
talk
Yeah,
about
you're
Busy Bee
right.
sandwiches.
Yeah. How's Pedro? Get a breakfast burrito for me. Mark from that live stream was saying that it doesn't happen in the U.S. because when people break into somebody's RV while they're sleeping, chances are the guy has a shotgun or something, you know. And I guess they feel safer knowing that chances are, if you're traveling, so first of all, it's harder to get a firearm here in Europe. And second of all, even if you do own a firearm, your chances are you're not taking it crossing a bunch of borders. Because
Right.
crossing borders and going to places that you may want to go, it's not just your country that you're in. You're going to all these different countries. So maybe that's why, part of the reason why people are a little bit more brazen here. Which sucks.
Yeah.
And I thought it was interesting because one guy from that live chat was like, I know where the thieves hang out in Marseille. It's at this bar, this address. And then you click on you search for the address and you click on the picture in the Google chat. There are some pretty suspicious characters that are hanging out at that bar. I mean, you know, it's the kind of person you would cast if you were trying to get somebody to be in a movie. That's what they look like. But of course, I'm judging people by their look, which is
drinking in a bar.
well, okay. Everybody looks like that drinking at a bar. But yeah, we got to be vigilant. That's scary, and I wish that it never happens to us. But it does also make me think, like, you know, these guys have to get what they deserve. What if I like stake them out? You know, we'll go to a French rest stop, and then I'll hide in the bushes with my shovel. When I see guys come out, I'll just whack one of them in the back of the head with a shovel, and then drag him to the police station.
Yeah, it's gonna go really well.
Maybe it won't go too well. Maybe that's the last thing I need. So, what else is there to share about Turkey? Okay, so when we left Turkey, we were thinking that we had originally hoped to see a lot more places. We wanted to get down to like the Mediterranean coast and the south side. We never made it to the coast of the Black Sea, which I thought it'd be cool to just go and see a little bit of it. I don't think it would have been any particular place that's like spectacular, but it was still kind of cold. And finally, like there were a couple days in the middle that was really great. And if you guys saw our Instagram photos, like we only got one day in Cappadocia where we saw the balloons. It was the first day we were there.
Yeah.
So we thought this would just happen every day. But, you know, the next few days we tried and it was a little bit too windy and we couldn't, you know, we didn't see the balloons.
You know where the bugs are.
Come down. Come down, plug in next to Mama. So, we didn't even think to wake up early, actually, for the first day, which was the only day that they flew the balloons. I just happened to wake up and we're at a really, really great spot, like overlooking the valley with all the ferry, what are they called? Ferry chimneys. Look out! Careful!
Hi.
You're dragging wires everywhere.
Hi.
Sit in the middle. Here's Luca. We'll take your headphones off.
You wanna plug in?
Say hi.
Hi.
Oh yeah, dash cam. You know, we actually turned off our dash cam while we were in Turkey because I think they're not legal. There's several countries in Europe where dash cams are not legal. So you got to be a little careful. And in fact, even like some countries that you wouldn't think it's illegal,
Like
it's
Austria.
illegal.
Like we drove through Austria with our dash cam.
With not knowing, and luckily we
knowing.
didn't really stop.
Somebody said it was like a huge fine, like thousands of dollars.
Yeah, which is suspicious, right? If dash cams are illegal, then you wonder like what You know, what are they afraid of?
Because sitting in the seat means that you...
Okay, RV Life says, what's the best type of meal as a family you enjoy cooking in the van? Okay, so lately what we've been using a lot is we've been using a pressure cooker. And I credit that to our Open Road, Adam and Emily. I don't know if you guys follow our Open Road on Instagram. We met them in Ventura last year.
Yeah, during our build.
Yeah,
So it was this summer.
yeah. Like last summer, we met them, and Emily told us that like they use a pressure cooker all the time. So like, oh, we never thought about using a pressure cooker, which is kind of great because, especially here, we're trying to conserve our propane because sometimes propane, depending on where you are, can get kind of hard to get refilled, especially when you have a U.S. style bottle. But with a pressure cooker, you can cook. You can cook like a stew. You know, like tender, really fall off the fork kind of tender meat in a pressure cooker and like
Fall off the fork?
fall off the bones. Just don't listen to her. She's not the one cooking. But it's super tender, like you cooked it all day. But it takes like, I won't say, okay, people say, oh, it takes 20 minutes. It doesn't actually take 20 minutes. It takes 20 minutes once it's come to pressure. And then once it's come to pressure, you want it to cook for 20 minutes. 20 minutes at that pressure. And then when you shut it off, it takes time for pressure to come down by itself. So it takes longer. But yeah, so basically it's Instapot, but it's a stovetop pressure cooker. Not an electric Instapot.
Yeah.
I think Instapot has made pressure cooker very popular. And also taken the fear out of pressure cookers for a lot of people. Because pressure cookers, you know, you gotta make sure that you don't leave it on the stove for too long. And because we're usually not plugged in anywhere, an instant pot just won't work for us. So yeah, so a traditional stovetop pressure cooker. That's what we use a lot. And then, you know, we figured out some like we can do chicken soup really quick, and then, you know, we'll do a stew, and then like we'll eat that stew like for like 3 meals. We can't even like we'll do a first meal, and then we'll maybe make rice with it, and then what's left over we'll use that to cook like we'll cook the actual rice in with the stew itself, so it just becomes another meal. So yeah, like we'll do something like that, and we'll eat it for like 3 days. But sandwiches, obviously, you know, we'll do sandwiches. We eat a lot of bread because when you're in Europe, it's like baguettes and loaves of bread is super easy.
Bolognese sauce or pasta with like a tuna sauce.
Yeah, and we just 3 days ago maybe, we carry a Cobb grill with us, which is pretty compact, and it's actually a very versatile like barbecue, and it's really efficient. It takes charcoal briquettes, but it's really efficient. You can cook like a slab of ribs with like 9 briquettes, and it stays hot for a long time, and it really traps all the heat. RV Live does pasta sauce, all-in-one Instant Pot.
We haven't tried that yet, all in one.
We haven't done all-in-one, but I would imagine the pasta would get too mushy.
You just don't do water. Use a sauce.
Maybe.
To cook it.
Then maybe make it a little dry.
I'll have to figure that out.
Okay, JMT 1022. Ella and Josie, 8 and 6 years old, would like to know what your kids like best about traveling. And also, do they like trying new foods? Luca, what do you think?
Do you have a question from your fans, Luca?
Yeah. Ella, who's 8, and Josie, who's 6, wants to know, what do you like about traveling?
What do you like about traveling? Okay, pause your YouTube video. What do you like about traveling or living in a van?
Dead air, Luca. Luca, you gotta give him some information.
The places we see.
Yeah, places you see. What places do you like?
Like
You like the blue musk? What else?
Carrying your shoes in a bag.
What are you doing to your
You're scared.
lips? Gross. What about the hot air balloon place?
Yeah, that too.
That was cool, yeah.
Do you like trying new foods every time we go to a new restaurant?
Sometimes.
Yeah. It's pretty much like living in a house. You win some, you lose some. What about climbing rocks?
Yeah, that's one of my favorites.
Climbing rocks, one of your favorites?
And after I climb it for a while,
Yeah, talk louder, I think.
and after I climb it a couple times, I find out a way to get up easier.
Oh, yeah, you get better.
Yeah, a new path up.
Huh?
Mhm.
Do you worry about falling from the rocks? Not really. Because I do. I worry about you falling from the rock.
Are there wires by your head? Sorry, I have the lights plugged in here.
Yeah. Well, I hope that was satisfactory for Ella and Josie. If not, I will work on them. I'll work on them for better answers
Mama.
for them.
Yeah.
Incoming washing machine.
Are you leaving?
You must
Okay, say bye.
Bye.
Especially say bye to Sharon.
Bye.
Say bye,
do
Sharon.
your special
Bye,
dance.
Sharon.
He disappeared. Oh, oh.
Uh-oh. You're gonna take down this whole setup.
Okay. All right. Nothing broke.
Yeah, so I was surprised that we only saw balloons 1 out of the 3 mornings. I don't know what, we just didn't think about the wind.
Yeah. And I was really surprised how expensive it was. It was really expensive to get on the balloon. I mean, expensive as in like it's not cheap. Because in the US, you get, it costs about $100 to $200 to get on the hot air balloon. I've never actually tried to get on a hot air balloon there because our exposure to hot air balloons have been more specifically related to the Albuquerque Balloon Fiesta, where we've been 3 times. And there, it's not so much about paying to ride a balloon. It's more about the volunteering and helping, and then you may get to ride a balloon for free, kind of thing. But here in, well, they're in Turkey. I guess we're not in Turkey anymore. In Cappadocia, it is all about the tour, like paying to ride. I don't know how it started. It must have started a long time ago. But I imagine like getting up high in the sky and looking at the scenery from up in the balloon was the original thing. So it probably wasn't as cool if you were the first guy to ever get in the balloon and then look up, because you just saw the landscape, which is cool. But I think the really cool part about it is seeing all the other balloons. Just like in the Balloon Fiesta, the amazing thing about the Balloon Fiesta is not the views in Albuquerque. Albuquerque's fine.
You're gonna get some hate mail, Dan.
Yeah. Albuquerque's fine, but to see like 1,000 balloons.
Yeah, all the different shapes.
And all the different shapes. There's no different shapes there because they're more efficient. They're more economically minded. They're trying to make money. So, money-wise, it's like...
it was U.S. prices, which was surprising.
yeah, it's $200 or 200 euros per person.
It's like 150 to 200.
Right. If you have like a group, maybe they'll drop it down to 150. But it was still basically 200 euros a person.
But 1,000 euros for all of us to go, that's crazy.
Yeah, we weren't going to do it. We've never ridden the balloon just because we mostly never had a desire to. And in places like ABQ, Balloon Fiesta, and Cappadocia, I think seeing them in the air is more thrilling. Of course, I'm saying that
As a cheapskate?
as a person who hasn't been up in a balloon. But doesn't matter if
don't
I'm a
want to.
cheap. You don't want to go.
No, I don't want to go.
Yeah, you have no desire. So that's why we haven't been. RV Life, 200 watts of solar, 230 amp hour AGM, Instant Pot, no problem on inverter. Well, I mean, yeah, we have 235 amps of AGM, and we have 350 watts of solar, but and 1,000. But we don't, you know.
Charging,
we do long weekends. Battery seems to be about 50. We could, but I'm
scared it's gonna take away from charging our laptops or something, or cloudy
I mean,
days.
I don't like to let the battery drain down too far either. In fact, our battery doesn't really get below like 12.2 volts on a daily basis. So, you know, you're letting those battery drain down, and then you're creating an actual full cycle. Then yeah, you're gonna start eating into the battery's life. I just prefer not to. I would rather. I like the stovetop pressure cooker because it's more, in my mind, it's a better use of our space. Because by having that stovetop pressure cooker, I can also use it to boil water. I can also use it to cook regular things. I can use it to deep fry stuff. I can use it to do whatever I want that a normal pot could do. You know, whereas an Instant Pot, you know, I cook whatever I want in the Instant Pot, and it may drain my battery only down to a point where it's still tolerable. But then if I want to cook something else, then I have to pull out a different pot and do that. Whereas with the stovetop pressure cooker, it's more versatile. And I can pull out, you know, if I wanted to, I could pull out, we have a hot plate, you know. So if we have hookups, I can just cook it on the hot plate. But anyways, I mean, I think the Instant Pot is great. I love the idea that you can just kind of push a button and then not really think about it. But, you know, the versatility thing is a big deal for us because we have so many people in such a little space that we can't really, you know, have things that take up too much space. Sure. Okay, so this is Greek beer now.
I think it's specific to Little.
You think this is like
brand.
Their brand? Yeah, because it's always the cheapest there. Trex N8. You guys are awesome, inspiration even as a single guy. Well, thank you, Trex N8.
Thank you.
You're an inspiration as a single guy to me. Just kidding. That was a joke. That was a joke.
You're sleeping on the couch if we had one.
You sleep in the car. Oh yeah. You're sleeping in the car. You already finished yours? I'm doing too much talking. You do the talking.
I'm doing just the right amount of talking.
You do the talking from now on while I finish my beer.
Silence.
Crickets?
Crickets.
Okay. I'm done with that beer.
This one's not very cold.
No, we just got these.
Cold enough.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see. Next week we're going to Paris to meet some friends. So I'm sure more of you guys have been to Paris than Turkey. So those of you that have been to Paris, what do you guys like? We've been once, but
the girls were very little. It was before Luca.
Yeah. Tell us what you guys like about Paris and what we should do.
Somebody said that a lot of museums were free, but I just have a hard time believing that. So, who is a better photographer here, Dan? Dan has an art degree.
Well, no, I would say that Marlene has been really, like, pushing herself into doing different compositions.
Thank you.
Foreground, background. So I'm very impressed with some of the stuff that she's taking. She's doing a lot of the photos, actually. And that's mostly because I'm shooting a lot of videos, so
can't do both.
It's hard to do both. And if I do both, it's going to be kind of a compromise. But yeah, so a lot of the photographs that you see on Instagram nowadays is Marlene's. Like the one that got, you know, a couple thousand likes, which is kind of the picture that I imagine that we would take while we're in Cappadocia, is like somebody standing there with the fairy chimneys in the background and then like balloons all around, you know. It just so happened that the lighting is really good. And it's really hard when you're up early, so you have like the magic hour, the morning version of the magic hour. You have that landscape, you have the balloons, you have a decent camera. It is really, really hard to take a bad picture.
Everything's so magical.
It's like
you're in the right
everywhere
place.
you click, it's like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god,
so
look at this picture, oh my god.
It was so hard to go through photos that day.
Yeah.
It took me a while to do Instagram stories because I had so many videos and photos to go to. I'm like, I'd rather not do it right now.
Yeah, it was overwhelming.
Yeah, but it was awesome. But before, talking about photography, before Instagram was 50-50. Like every day, Dan and I would, at the end of the day, would say, these are my 3 favorite, and then we'd talk about which photos to post.
Yeah. We still post a decent amount on Instagram, but we used to post a lot more.
Yeah.
We used to post, like, we would have a lot of pictures before we started really trying to do more YouTube, and then the kids were littler. You know, we didn't spend a lot of our day like homeschooling and stuff like that. It was difficult, but now it's like, you know, we really have to like make time out of the day to go and like photograph. But at the same time too, it's like there's a little, for a while there was some Instagram burnout, and I think even now it's like, you know, you don't feel as motivated to take photos for Instagram, but we still take tons of photos for ourselves just because we want them. But it's like for Instagram, I think I blame part of that to the algorithm. You know, seems like a lot of people on Instagram are also not as into it anymore.
I think people are burning out at social media.
Yeah, social media is burning out, so people are not as engaged.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I still think the algorithm is part of it, because when we have a photo that gets really popular, you still get tons and tons of likes. It's the regular everyday photos, you don't get as many, because I just know that like people are not even seeing them. You know, because... Or
it's a crappy photo, Dan.
Maybe that's it too, but also I think the other thing too is like there are a lot more people full-time traveling, you know, so there's a lot more to consume. So yeah, well, thank you, Sharon. We've been trying more to kind of push ourselves on the quality of the YouTube videos since my shooting on the phone. It was different. It was the opposite end of the extreme. In Mexico, when I started doing daily vlogging, I had to do it on my phone because I had to edit it on my phone and upload it all on my phone. So I was limited with the quality, but it was more about the stories there. But now I'm shooting so much more with a better quality camera. Even this live stream, I'm using my Sony, you know, so the quality of this live stream is even better. Would you ever do another van build? It's tough on the body, as you already know, and you ain't no spring chicken.
You know what? We're feeling it. I'm feeling like crawling in this van sometimes. I'm like...
I love it.
I like it too, but if we wait 10 years, I don't know if I can crawl into that bed.
I think it was harder the other day when we were like slanted. The nose of the van was up.
Yeah.
So I had to sleep the other way.
Yeah.
That's harder because you have to crawl in and then you have to flip around.
Yeah, you gotta do a U-turn.
Yeah, but the way that we've got it now where our head is in the back. Oh my gosh, somebody just gave us $20. Are you kidding me, single guy? No way.
He's got money to throw around.
Are you serious? Oh my god, we gotta... Marlene, we gotta do something for it. Trex and 8. I don't know what. But that's...
Dan,
really, thank
flash
you.
him, Dan. Sorry.
Yeah, no. This is the family channel.
Thank you. That
yeah,
was nice
thank you
of
so much. But I would do another van build. But you know what? I don't know if I would build it any differently.
No, we met a Romanian family that's traveling right now, and they had a sweet old Mercedes 310. And I'm...
T1. It's called the T1.
I'm itching for one of those.
Yeah, I would build one of those. Well, and I also joke about, like, each of the kids when they turn 16 they get a van, so then they can follow us in their own van if they want, and then go drive off into their own sunset if they don't want.
Well, we said one kid's gonna get the Airstream, one kid's gonna get the Casita, and one kid was gonna get the 4-wheel camper.
Yeah,
but
now we only have the Airstream.
We sold 2 and one's at Airbnb, so they're all screwed.
Right.
They're
So
all
now
on
they're
their
gonna
own.
get their own van.
Okay,
I really hope Trex, and I really hope he meant to do that, and that wasn't a mistake, because I'll be gladly refund you your money if that was a mistake.
Any advice on transitioning toward living full time on the road?
Well, living full time on the road. So the way that we did it, we did a full multi-year transition basically. Because unlike a lot of people who like cut themselves off, say we're selling the house, we're putting stuff in storage, and then we're like on the road, you know, from this day on. When we first started full-time traveling, we didn't sell our house because we didn't know that it would take, because we didn't have social media to kind of look at, we didn't have other people to follow, and we didn't know that we would like it. We didn't know what it actually meant. So we did a pretty long transition. But now we've been doing it for a while. As far as advice, the number one advice that I give everybody is to make sure that you've got your finances figured out.
Yeah.
And that's like the big thing, because if you don't have your finances figured out, you're constantly worrying about how much money you have in the bank, where the next buck is going to come from, and how... What do you need?
She needs a battery box.
She needs to charge? Well, you have to first sit over here and talk to our live stream.
That's not fair.
Luca did it.
Yeah, because he wanted.
You can plug by Daddy's side maybe.
No, Ava's using it.
They're going to bed.
Yeah, you can go in the bed, but come over here first.
Finish answering a question, Dan.
Okay. So, finances. Figure out how you're going to make money. Careful with this recording. Okay.
She's
Figure out-
melting.
Yeah. We haven't melted.
Okay, if you don't want to be here, you don't have to.
Okay. But at least come up, wave, and say hi, and then you can go.
Hi.
Say hi, Sharon said hi. Hi, Sharon.
Hi. Bye.
Okay, bye. That's all she got.
The loudest middle kid all of a sudden got quiet.
Uh-huh.
And you knocked down our curtain.
Ah!
Everybody sees us in the van.
I know. There's a Dutch couple, older Dutch couple over here. I remember before we had the front cover up, I'm just sitting here like on the computer doing something. I see her walking by. It was during the day. Walking by, walks to the front of the van, turns around, looks down, and was like, I'm in here. I know she can see me. I was like, hi. She's like, yeah, it's California. Yeah, she came to the window.
She couldn't believe it.
Started talking to her. It was really funny.
Okay, so finances.
Yeah, so you just gotta. Oh, Sharon says your pair of sneakers are awesome.
Thank you.
She says
said
thank
thank
you.
you.
It matches with my dress. I mean my purse.
Matches her purse, she said.
Yeah.
She's fancy.
Oh, quickly, who cares? That's the person's name. If you're in
Nice.
the chat, you see, who cares us? Is Morocco in our future? Yes.
Yeah. Next winter.
Morocco is next winter.
Daddy got
That was always the plan.
got
Huh?
a plan.
Okay.
I don't have a plug.
Such a plan.
Okay.
A lot of people, when they talk to us about full timing, they're worried about what to pack, what not to pack. It's like, I don't know, when people, and I always tell them, like, especially if you're in the U.S., it's so convenient to just ditch things
Do you need a plug?
and buy new things, and I don't think you should worry about
And I
that.
can also just
Like
put it
Dad.
here.
Like Dad.
What thing?
I could just
Sorry, we have plug
I
problems.
don't have a plug there. I think Ava's using
I can
it.
just take a plug there and not use a
Oh, she can plug
Here,
into it.
just plug into this and be
Okay,
done.
I'll use
Yeah, don't worry too much about especially if you're gonna be full-time traveling, living in your RV, van, whatever, camper. If you're gonna be in your home country for the foreseeable future, like, just keep the things that can't be replaced. Everything else, unless you love it, you can get rid of it. Because over the next course of however many years, you'll probably never use it, you'll never see it, and you're never going to want it. Just the things that you absolutely can't replace, love, family heirlooms, that kind of stuff, hang on to.
Yeah.
You're going to be much happier to not have to worry about
your stuff.
All the stuff. Because we had our bunch of stuff in storage, and our storage got broken into, I don't know if you guys know, a couple years ago. We had a bunch of stuff stolen. And it felt like a huge violation, but at the same time, it's stuff that we haven't seen in years. And stuff that we
worried about.
And stuff that we may never, now would never see it, but we may never have seen it anyways. So all it did is it cost us money and worried about it.
And whatever setup you pick, like, for this moment, it'll be ideal for you. But in the future, it may change, and that's okay. And that's what we were with the Airstream, and we changed to the four-wheel camper, and then we added a casita, and then now we're in the van. So it changes, and just, if you could just be flexible.
Yeah, that's the other key. Two main things. Figure out how you're going to make money and how you're going to be comfortable, financially sustaining yourself. And then 2, just be happy.
Yeah.
Like, figure out whatever way to just,
yeah,
be comfortable and sustain.
Sometimes you can't take a shower, it's okay. Sometimes you can't get your favorite peanut butter brand, it's okay. Like, all these, like, little things that you just adapt to it. If you can adapt to it,
don't let the little things bother you.
Yeah. And if you have any specific questions, we're always happy to answer. Like on Instagram or on YouTube.
Yeah.
Or email.
For sure. Let us know. And, if you're really going down this path and, you're either thinking about the process or in the middle of the process or, nearly done with the process, any of those situations, you'll have questions. And hopefully we can, we have the answers and we can help you, because a lot of the stuff, like, it's maybe early on. Hey, World Towning just came on. We survived the drive. That's right. We're in Thessaloniki now. It's actually, man, it was much shorter than I thought.
Yeah.
It felt like we got here in no time.
We're still celebrating your 2nd anniversary.
Yeah. Yeah, if you guys don't follow World Towning, I know there's just a few of you on our live streams, but you guys should check them out. In fact, Trex and 8, you should also check out World Towning, because World Towning, they're the American family that we just met a couple days ago. They actually have this whole sort of this, like, they call it World Towning. You guys call it World Towning University, right? It's like a class that you can take. They'll hold your hand. They walk you through, the entire process. But, it's nice to have somebody who can kind of mentor you, who's done it, who can kind of, show you the ropes, so to speak. I think it's definitely a lot easier now. Oh, cool.
Oh, yeah. You survived. We were supposed to check on them.
You guys survived, too. All right.
Oops, great friends we are. We're going to check on them.
Yeah, so if you guys see in the chat, World Towning talking about the Serve Us host, which is like a cultural exchange thing that they're doing in Turkey. They're in Turkey right now, so it's really cool. Yeah, World Towning, WTU. So check them out. Maybe you can do a consultation with them and see, see if that's something that could help you transition to full-time traveling. But, you can always ask us too, anytime you want. We appreciate it. We appreciate the $19.99. That's it's kind of a, like, why $19.99? Like the other person did. Was it like a preset? Because we don't have a price. There's no price tag, right? Seems like a round number. I mean, in a very not round number way. But thank you once again. That was really generous of you. So yeah, so Who Cares says, when we're in Morocco, hit me up. Hit me up then. I'm in Morocco. Wow, cool. We have a...
Yeah, we will.
Yeah.
We'll be
We'll
there
definitely be in
next
Morocco.
winter. So depending on how long it takes us to get through Spain and Portugal.
Yeah, where in Morocco are you? I mean, we're going to try to go to...
Maybe we'll do Christmas in Morocco.
everywhere.
Christmas time.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see.
It's a little far away, like, as far as trying to plan, but...
That's probably as far as we planned before.
I don't know how much we plan on where we're going to go in Turkey. And we really only decided to go to Turkey, like, a month ago.
Right, but we'll know where we will be in a
6 months.
A year from now.
Morocco's maybe 6 months from now.
Okay.
No, maybe a little
Maybe
more. A little more even. Is Nathan? Oh, Nathan. Nathan is Trex. Oh, Trex Nate. I see. You're the same person. Did you just change your name? Or it's showing up as a different name now. Nathan Allen. Just watch your purchase video.
Oh, for the Mercedes?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we were so nervous. We're like, this is a lot of money.
But look at it now. It looks different inside than it was before.
Hopefully not worse.
It was, it's probably the most expensive vehicle we ever bought.
It's more than the Airstream.
We paid, Airstreams are a lot more now. Okay, SR, let me see your phone. Let's see where that is in Morocco. We definitely should, oh, I'm going to use my phone because I'll put a star on it. And then I'll know, I'll put a
well,
note.
Don't knock over our whole...
Hey, where's my phone?
Here, just use my phone, you'll remember.
Okay.
EU... Oh, no, ESS.
YouTube pay stars at $0.99. I didn't know that. Oh, I don't know how that works either.
Maybe they take a percentage.
Yeah.
Oh, that's creative. Hi, Creative Holly.
It's Holly. Holly from Lake Tahoe.
Dan, you remember too many fun facts from everybody.
Well, I mean, Holly and Sharon, you know, goes to $99.99. My God, that's crazy.
Oh, World Sounding's been there. Let's see.
Okay.
Do you know how to use an iPhone, Dan?
Oh yeah, cool.
Oh, you're
Well,
on
we're
the
definitely
water.
gonna be there. It's around the coast.
Is there surfing there? We brought our surfboards.
Oh yeah, that seems a sure place we're gonna hit. Looks like there's a point.
Oh, look.
Looks like there's surf there. Yeah, there's surf. Little dollar symbol. What do you do? What foods do you miss the most besides In-N-Out? Okay. This is basically an hourly conversation around here.
I get so mad that everybody's focused on what they miss instead of what we can enjoy. It drives me crazy.
Yeah. Will and Jessica from World Tanning knows about this after hanging out with us for the last couple of days, because all we talk about, even when we're with people that we just meet, Mexican food.
Yeah, we miss Mexican
Okay,
food.
windsurf, surf and windsurf.
Okay, so
That
depending
would be
on the
awesome.
weather.
Can't wait.
Oh, that's where they were telling us there was
Yeah.
a cool town. That's a good vibe.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right. Awesome.
Yes.
Oh, so Nathan, are you gonna be so you'll full-time live in your Hawk?
Yeah,
four-wheel camper Hawk.
We really love our 4-wheel camper. We were really sad to sell it. More than the Casita for sure.
But you know what? Nathan's a single guy. That is like a mansion. To be in a Hawk by yourself? Come on.
That's gonna be awesome.
Nick Smith wants to know where we are and what the weather is like.
Okay.
We are in Thessaloniki, Greece, and the weather.
Second largest city in Greece.
Yep,
Yeah.
a couple million people. The weather today is actually
It was
pretty
nice.
great. T-shirt. I wore this outside today, which
Like tomorrow it's 65 and 48 low at night.
which is like double
Yeah.
where it was probably last time we were here. Last time we were here like a little over 2 weeks ago, maybe
Yeah.
2.5 weeks ago.
It was snowing.
It snowed here.
Yeah.
So we're really happy with the temperature here now. We'll think of you when we're making steak fajitas today. We can try to make steak fajitas. The other problem with Europe is the quality of the beef is, I wouldn't say the quality is not good. It's the rating. Like, you know how in the US we have USDA Choice, USDA Prime, when we have like Angus beef, and like Choice and Prime is based on like how much marbling there is in the meat, and the more marbling you have in the meat, the more like tender, the better it is to, like, you know, if you like eating medium rare or whatever. Everything here is like super lean, so all the beef is super lean. So we just made broccoli beef. I've actually pretty much perfected my broccoli beef recipe to make it exactly like Panda Express.
A little chewy, Dan.
The beef, that's the problem.
Chewy.
That's what I'm saying, is that the beef is, it's better for slow cooking, which is why we end up doing a lot of pressure cooking. How often do you cook in the van? We'll cook in the van every day.
Yeah. And depending on the country, like some countries like Albania, is it Albania?
Yeah, it's really cheap to eat out.
It was cheaper to eat out, I think.
But those countries, ever since Albania, Greece, and Turkey, there's just a lot of like gyros and donairs and, you know, like very like Arabic food. It was really good and somewhat exotic because it's not real common in the U.S. Although they are there when you want them. But it gets a little old after a while. I'm sure when we're not here we'll miss it, but you know, it's kind of like if you eat Mexican food every day. I mean, this is sacrilegious for me to say this right now. You could get tired of Mexican food if you ate it every day.
No, Dad, never.
No, probably not. But yeah, it was really cheap to eat there. But after a while, though, it's like, you know, we just like to cook in. Let's see.
The prep for cold temperature camping.
For the van, well, I would say that if you have the opportunity and you're in a Sprinter van, I don't know if you're in a Sprinter van or not, but if you're in a diesel van like ours, and if you're going to be in like really cold, meaning like snowing or maybe in the snow, or maybe you're camping in your van while you're skiing or something, I would really consider like a diesel heater, either a Webasto or an S-Bar heater.
But if you're building it out like we did, like, really don't skimp on the insulation. Like, we didn't do our floor, and I think I kind of regret it for like really cold days because my feet are freezing. I'm wearing shoes indoors.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping this is unique for this winter and we'll avoid super cold weather. Like.
Yeah, but there are things you can do.
Yeah, I can wear slippers, but I just don't have slippers.
You can also line the floor with some kind of
like a yoga mat.
Yoga mat type stuff. Yeah.
But if you prep your vehicle
insulated and
then put Reflectix up or something over your windows and have a few different heating options. Like we have electric, we have propane, and we're thinking about getting diesel too. So we'll have 3 different options for 3 different situations that we're in. Yeah.
The thing about our propane catalytic heater, there's the good here. The good is that it takes 0 electricity.
Yeah.
The only thing going to it is a hose from our propane source. So, and it gets super hot and it heats up the place in no time. But there is one big downside, is that there's no thermostat. There's just a low, medium, or high setting. So then you just go low, medium, or high, and then you can let it run. And then if it gets too hot, you got to turn it down. And if it's still too hot, you can't turn it down anymore, you got to turn it off. Then when you turn it off, and then you get too cold, then you have to relight it. But and obviously, it's not something you want to leave on overnight, so we turn it off before we go to bed.
It's a good option if it's an overcast day and we don't want to waste our battery power. Then we'll run the propane. If we have hookups, and we'll plug in our electric heater.
Yeah, a little cheap, like
$10.
A little cheap electric heater, 1500 watt electric heater.
Kids complain it's too hot in here.
Yeah, but the nice thing is that they all have little thermostats.
And then the third option would be the diesel heater.
So diesel heater is kind of the best of both worlds. You don't have to have electricity, right? Because the 1500 watt heater, you're not going to run that off your battery pack. Even if you have lithium, it's a bad use of your hardly earned solar power. Hard-earned solar power. So, but the nice thing about a diesel heater for a diesel vehicle, especially when you have a line coming from your tank to your heater, is that it's easy to refuel. You have, in our van, we have 35 gallons of diesel, and I think that'll run the diesel heater for probably like 2 months.
But the bad thing about that diesel heater, if it's super, super cold, it won't start.
Right, you gotta, yeah.
So
I mean, it's got a combustion chamber, you know, so it could be a problem.
I would cry if that happened to us, and that's our only heater.
Also, there's more maintenance. There's more maintenance involved, so it could, you know, I seen some people's like, you know, you could have carbon buildup. When you have carbon buildup, it could have problems, burning, and you could have this big, you know, bad combustion and white smoke coming out. So that could be bad. But, you know, ideally for us, we would install a diesel heater at some point. And the family we met in Cappadocia, that is from Romania, said that we can get a Webasto diesel heater installed, the heater plus installation in Romania for like 700 euros, which is like half the price of what we've priced out before. So if we can get it done there, we'll do
way more than in Croatia.
Croatia is going to be 1,000 euros just for the heater.
Yeah.
So we're going to try to do that. Sean Explorer says, found you on Chris and G's channel during the interview in Alaska. Yeah, that was when we met Chris for the first time too.
Yeah, I remember that interview. It was like cold and bright. It was like beanies and sunglasses.
He was in Seward.
And then somebody commented, "Are you guys trying to be in disguise?" Like, no, it's freezing.
Yeah.
And bright.
No, I know.
It's Alaska.
But we loved Alaska. And if you saw one of our last Instagram posts, then if you read the description, you know that Alaska was a big motivation for us to travel this way. After Alaska, we decided to do that. Let's see. Was purchasing a 4x4 Mercedes in Germany ever an option? So yes and no. Purchasing a van here in Europe was an option, was something that we considered, but only for a little bit. Mainly because we don't have a place. It came down to the finances and also the flexibility of what we're able to do while we're here. First of all, like, we don't know what the process is like to purchase a car as a foreigner. Although before we came, Marlene got her Croatian citizenship, so she could buy a car here and have it register under her name. But the biggest problem for us is that we didn't have a place to build it out. And we were pretty certain that we weren't going to find a van that was exactly what we wanted, that could sleep 5 people comfortably.
With no bathroom.
Yeah, that didn't have a bunch of wasted space for like a shower and a toilet and whatever. And mainly it's because of that. They don't sleep 5 people. Every van that we've seen here, the most we've seen any vans comfortably sleep is 4. You know, so we know that was going to be a problem. And the other thing too is if we buy here, when we leave, we're going to have to sell it. And the people that we've seen buy and sell, there's time while they're looking and building or fixing their vehicle when they start. And then there's time when they're trying to sell it at the end, and then if it just takes too long, they have to leave it with somebody. It's a big hassle. And also, like, when you get here without a van, you gotta find a place to stay. So that costs money. So that could cost you a few $1,000s staying in an Airbnb. And then we don't know what the hardware store situation like. We know Home Depot and Lowe's. Let's, get all of our stuff.
It's gonna be more expensive, and then getting solar, and then the inverters, and
we had a much better time planning all of our gear.
It was easier.
Buying all the gear from Amazon. We know exactly we can get stuff shipped from Amazon. Like in LA, sometimes the same day, sometimes the next day. Whereas like where we would have built our van would have been in Croatia. now that we're in Croatia for 3 months, we know that getting something shipped to Croatia is a nightmare.
Yeah.
So that would have been really bad. So
Well, I think that we paid $2,500 to ship the van here, and I think it was worth the headache and whatever extra cost here.
yeah,
It was so worth it for us, and we got to park in front of my parents' house, and they basically took care of all the kids and fed everybody.
right. We wouldn't have a babysitter if we're building it
And
here.
so we could work 8 to 12 hours a day straight, and that's how we built out this van in 30, 40 days.
Yeah.
We couldn't have done it without them or where we're at, and my dad's tools. We didn't have to buy tools.
And secondly, believe it or not, 4x4 Mercedes Sprinters are actually way harder to find in Europe
Yeah.
than it is in the U.S. In fact, the demand for 4x4 Sprinters in the U.S. is so high, it is prioritized over every other country in the world. So most of it actually end up in the U.S. The family from Romania we met that found their Mercedes T1 van that was a former ambulance 4x4 fire truck had a really hard time finding it. And there's one other Romanian guy that contacted me through Facebook, says he has a 2008 Mercedes Sprinter 170 4x4. That's really, I think, the only other 4x4 170 size van that I've seen.
Is that before DEF?
It could be. It could be.
Lucky.
But it's really hard. It would have been really hard. So I still think what we did was the right thing to do. Do we have plans to ever stop traveling full time and live in a house? Yeah, sure. I mean, it's
We don't
always
have any plans, but we know
it's a possibility. We know it's
Yeah.
always a possibility. Like we don't have plans in either way, either direction. We don't have plans to stop at any particular time and live in a house, but we also don't have plans to do this forever.
Yeah.
Every year we look to the next year.
Yeah. And so far, everybody's happy. Nobody's complaining or feeling burnt out. You
Yeah.
know, it's been a few years, and I see us still doing it for a while, but who knows?
And I think about options for the next couple of years. I mean, we talk about options on a fairly regular basis. What are we going to do next year? What do you think, I mean, now we're in Europe, we know for the next year or two we'll still be in Europe because there's still so much Europe we want to see. So that's kind of cool because, when we're in the U.S., the last couple years in the U.S. was like, okay, we've been to all the states that we can drive to. We've been to all the provinces in Canada. We can go farther into like the more remote places in Canada. We can go back to Mexico. Or do we want to just kind of go to our favorite places again? It did get to the point where we feel like, we're just kind of circling. So Europe was a thing that we had to do to kind of really broaden our horizons. But now that we're in Europe, it feels like we can do more. It feels like that there could be
I could drive to
potentially
Mongolia.
more years. Yeah, we could if we could figure out how to maintain the vehicle in Asia, like we could figure out a way to drive through Asia. I don't know how much of a desire I have to drive through Africa, but we'll see. Next year when we go to Africa and Morocco, we'll see how much we love it. Maybe that's a possibility. But we could also, fly like where my dad lives and where I'm from in Taiwan. I would love to take the kids and live in Taiwan for a year, and then maybe once we're there, we can do Vietnam and Thailand and Philippines and wherever else in Southeast Asia for a couple of years. So there's our options that we talk about, and also, of course, there's always sailboats. I've always owned sailboats. I've started sailing when I was in high school in the little dinghies, but then we've owned a couple sailboats before we ever started full-time traveling. But Marlene was never a big fan of sailboats up until this last
It's chipping away at me.
last
Chip,
winter,
chip.
last fall in Croatia when we took a boat out for a week in the islands.
It wasn't
outside
so
of
bad, but
Croatia.
it was also perfect weather.
Yeah,
So
she
and
didn't
we
have
had friends with us. So
right.
All right, what's the next
yeah.
question?
World Tanning said we did fill up.
Yeah.
In fact, when we went to Domino's, when we were visiting you guys, Will and Jess, when I took out money, in the back of my mind, I was thinking, I'm going to take out enough Turkish liras so we can buy dinner, we can do some grocery shopping, fill up our fridge, and also have enough to get to near the border of Turkey, fill up there, so then I have plenty of fuel to drive back. So we're in Thessaloniki now, which is, I don't know, it's only like 250 miles from the border, maybe. Still got I'm still on Turkish gas, Turkish diesel. Still doing pretty good. Let's see. Big Duke X, what about air conditioning during the warmer months? This summer we'll be in Scandinavia.
Yeah.
So even the warmer months will not require air conditioning.
Yeah. And we don't have our
hopefully.
Yeah. And we don't have our cat anymore, so we can handle it a little bit better. But we have the car's air conditioning in case like we're so hot we can run the car.
Yeah, but the car air AC doesn't really get that cold unless the engine is at a certain RPM driving around.
Don't be a nerd, Dan.
I know, I have to kind of burst your bubble there. But we also, the other thing is we don't have that much roof space.
We don't have any.
No, we have this fan right here, which we need to have because this is what kind of, when we're cooking, this is like the ventilation for the stove.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to have that. And the fan back there above the kids, we didn't know at the time when we built it, but it gets pretty warm up there where they are. Because hot air goes up and it goes back there and it like doesn't go anywhere. So they're often pretty hot. So I think they're gonna need that fan above them too. And then in the middle we have solar panels. So we don't really have any space for an air conditioning. So we didn't have air conditioning in the four-wheel camper.
Yeah.
And we were in really hot places in the four-wheel camper.
Yeah, we'll buy little fans.
Let's see. Who cares says, yeah, Marlene's Croatian.
Yeah, my mom and dad were both born in Croatia and moved to California in the 60s, late 60s. And I got my Croatian citizenship for myself and for all three kids a few years ago. So that's how we're traveling and avoiding Schengen rules here in Europe.
Yeah, because if you guys don't know, as U.S. citizens, you have to abide by what's called the Schengen zone, which is not exactly all the EU countries. Some countries are EU and Schengen. Most of them are. Some countries are just EU. Some countries are just Schengen. So it's tricky. It's actually kind of a tricky thing. And you have to be, technically, you don't need a visa when you travel in the EU countries or in Schengen, but you have to abide by a rolling 180 days prior to the current day. So in the last 180 days, you have to be out of the Schengen zone for at least 90 days.
Yeah.
So that's the tricky thing that most people who don't have the ability to get either long stay visas, which World Tanning has figured out how to do that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're gonna take off. Well, good night, guys. I don't know if you guys are still on.
We kept you up late another night. Sorry.
I know. But for us, you know, Marlene and the kids being Croatian, also they have Croatian passports, so I was able to get the residency card. So yeah, that's been helpful. Holly says Japan 2020.
Not. I don't know if our van can get there.
Is that like a person running for president or something? No, I'm just kidding. You can ship the van there.
Yeah.
What a lot of people do is they drive through Russia to Vladivostok and then they ship from the port there to like either Japan or Korea. But then you're there. Then you have to ship. I guess you can ship across to the U.S. from there.
Yeah.
To the West Coast.
Diesel limitations. You know, there's that
ultra low
DF delete
sulfur
that we could do.
Yeah. So there's a couple things you can do. You have to flash the ECU. And then, is it called the ECU?
Oh, you're the nerd.
You have to flash the computer of your vehicle, basically, when you do this delete. But people can flash the computer of the vehicle, and then you can basically remove the DEF system, the DPF system.
Which is illegal in most states.
It won't pass smog again.
Yeah.
yeah, it may be illegal, but
It's an option.
people do it, and then you have to technically be like an off-road only vehicle. But I don't know how reversible that is. You know, if we don't ever register it in California again, and we register in a state that doesn't require smogging, then we could do it. Then we could go to Africa. Then we can go to any country that doesn't have ultra low sulfur diesel. But I just still need to make sure that we can get parts, and we can have people work on it. People know how to work on it wherever we go. Now I would imagine, you know, they can. Sharon's brother lives in Vietnam.
Oh, cool.
The Heimer MLT 570 4x4. Well, I need to know what that. I need to check out what that looks like. Well, Heimer has a lot of cool vehicles.
Yeah.
But actually, I found that the Heimer was just acquired by Thor. Heimer Germany, like the parent company.
Wow.
So yeah, consolidation. So now technically Heimer is owned by the same people that own Airstream. Low sulfur is widely available in Morocco. Well, low sulfur is, but is ultra low sulfur. I'm sure it is too, because everybody goes to Morocco. So I think Morocco is totally fine. How do we meet? We met in Santa Barbara while we were going to UC Santa Barbara.
At the Dining Commons.
Yeah. Do you guys listen to Jack Johnson? He was in UC Santa Barbara the same year we were. We lived in the dorms the same year Jack Johnson was living in the dorms. And in fact, he's I wouldn't say he's our friend. He's an acquaintance. And I had classes with his girlfriend then. She was a math major. I was a math minor wannabe, but I never followed through with it. So I ended up only just getting 1 degree. But yeah, Santa Barbara.
He sings a song about the DLG, and that's where we worked, and that's where we met too.
The song where he says he was eating lunch at the DLG. If you ever know what DLG is, DLG stands for De La Guerra, which is the name of the dining commons where I used to work, and we used to eat.
I used to work there too, Dan.
And then Marlene got a job there, like, junior year?
The summer between sophomore and junior.
Yeah. And I decided to get a job there. It's funny because I lived in the dorms right across, like, a grassy area from DLG. And I would just, like, sit there in my dorm looking over there, wondering about how I'm going to get some extra cash in my pocket. I was like, oh,
you're dreaming about buffets.
Answer is staring me right in the face. So I got a job at DLG, and then I got all my friends' jobs at DLG. And then ended up all of our friends ended up being all DLG people. So that was cool. And in fact, the people that are visiting us in Paris,
they're all from DLG.
Well, he was my friend in the dorm freshman year.
Okay.
So I knew him before I started working at DLG. But then I got him working at DLG too. And he met his wife, who he has 2 kids with, at DLG. So he was eating lunch at the DLG.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's see. Japan drives on the right side. Yep, that's right. Only UK and Europe drive on the right side. Yep. I know Japan does. I know the UK does. I know Hong Kong does because they're a former British colony.
Australia? Are we gonna go to
some
Australia,
other place
Dan?
does. Yeah. Yeah, but that's okay though, you know, because we'll be in the UK, even though we have a left-hand drive. We'll just figure out how to make it work. Yeah, well, I'm glad you think that's a great meeting story, because when we were there, like working at Dining Commons, we felt kind of dorky.
That's us, Dan.
Okay, yeah, 5 ppm diesel. That's ultra low sulfur. That's great. Do you ever get tired of overlanding and thinking of quitting? It's a concern I have, but then thinking we can get trapped in the lifestyle. You know, like, I don't think ourselves as overlanding. Do you?
Well, I just don't like labels.
But no, I don't think of ourselves as like van lifing. I don't think of ourselves as overlanding. I don't think of ourselves as doing anything but like traveling with our kids, going to places with our kids.
I think we.
So, but I know what you mean though. Like, do we ever get tired of like going places and not having a home? Maybe I think that's what you're trying to say.
I think it's just like we're not exploring every day. Like, let's go, 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 go. And we're not also sitting and just on Wi-Fi every day.
If you want to take it easy, we take it easy.
It's just like mix it up. If all of a sudden somebody needs to work, rent an Airbnb and have a house for a week or a month. Like, there's no rules. You just be flexible and do what's right for you. And I think that's how we lasted for as long as we have, is we're not putting pressure on ourselves like we have to boondock every day. Sometimes we're in an RV park and that's okay. Sometimes you can rent an Airbnb. That's fine. You know. Just,
yeah, you're not trying to do it for anybody else but yourself.
Yeah.
You know? So yeah, it's like if one day we decide this is not what we want to do, there's nothing forcing us to keep doing it. You know, we'll just have to weigh our options. Like, what do we get if we go in this direction or that direction? Like, I've been for years and years and years trying to push Marlene into, like, getting a sailboat. I mean, in fact, since the beginning.
That's why we got into Airstreaming, because Dan wanted to go on a sailboat. I'm like, no, no, no. He's like, fine, let's do this Airstream thing. I'm like, okay.
So it's kind of like it, but on land. But, you know, last year, when kind of push comes to shove, like, we're trying to look for a change, and then the sailboat was in the conversation again. It was just like, realistically, sailboats have its limitations, you know. And after having traveled by land for so long, knowing the benefits and also knowing what the limitations are for sailboats, like, I love the idea that I can just like go anywhere in the world, at least along the coast of anywhere in the world. But once you get to a coast, like, how do you go inland? Like, then it becomes a real hassle. Really, like, if you're gonna explore, people that are exploring by sailboat, they're going on water to go to the next place where they can get on land, and then they're doing their exploring while they're on land. You know, the boat is like a way to get there. So I would love to do that, but I'm constantly now thinking about the realistic aspect of, like, how happy would everybody be to be at anchor, stuck on a boat, and then just being able to, like, get to land and then having to figure out transportation everywhere we go once we got there. So I feel like that we should at least maximize and do as much as we can, go everywhere we want to go in a vehicle, and then ship it to places, ship it to different countries. Instead of being on a boat going there, ship the car to place and drive in as much as we want everywhere, explore every nook and cranny of the piece of land that we're at. And once we feel like we've exhausted all of our land options, then I think maybe the boat, you know, would make sense. Yeah, it's the pros and cons of everything, for sure. Yeah, so Sharon says that she used to live on a boat too and misses it. The part of the boat for me is like the living on the boat. I really think that's fun. I think that's great, you know, really cool to just have like a full self-sustaining thing, because even more so than cars, the boat, a sailboat specifically, powered by the wind, solar panel, wind generator, water maker, like everything you need is right there. You can fish, you can catch food, you know, so you can be so much more sufficient. You can really be way more sustainable just with what you have there. Of course, you need vegetables and grains and stuff.
Your black tank doesn't limit you because you're dumping your crap in the ocean.
Yeah, you go a little bit offshore and then you can just like let it rip into the sea. Yeah, so you can literally quote unquote boondock for much longer on a boat. You know, because when you do a crossing, right, when you go from Ecuador to yeah, you're literally living off grid. Let's see, pros and cons of everything. Yep, everything's got pros and cons. How and when do you guys decide to live this lifestyle? Nathan wants to know. Well, basically we started when we had Ava. We were both working, and we decided that why are we both working and so much of our money is going to daycare?
We also had a dog that passed away when Ava was 9 months, and we got really sad, and just kind of, what are we doing? Kind of, you know, it's funny to say for non-animal lovers, but, you know, that was part of it also. Having a kid, losing our dog within 9 months, you know, it just kind of, something shifted in us, and then we said, oh, let's buy this trailer and take longer trips. So we started doing these longer trips that, you know, pretty quickly turned into a lifestyle. So we didn't have a moment where we're like, we're going to sell everything, because people online weren't talking about that.
No.
So we just kind of transitioned into it naturally, and that's what worked for us.
But also, once we had Ava, and both of our motivations for, you know, starting from that point of our life was to spend time with her. And then, like, every decision we made as we were coming across, like, okay, should I go for this job, or should I get another job, or should I move farther away to work, or should I move closer to home to work? Everything revolved around being able to spend more time with her, you know. So naturally, those things meant that we made all these small decisions along the way that got us to be able to work from home eventually. Then eventually we were all working from home, and then we realized, since we're all working from home, why does our home need to be in one place?
Right.
You know, so that's when we started doing this, and then just one thing led to another. Yeah, so, you know, this is what happened. Let's see. So health insurance. So that's an interesting thing. Up until last year, for 5 years before that, I worked full-time for a company that provided health insurance.
Yeah, we had Blue Cross and Blue Shield.
Yeah, so we didn't have to worry about that. But since then, we started planning this trip and working for ourselves, and I went back into contracting. So we had the option of just paying for like a typical health insurance plan, but what we opted for instead is this kind of alternate.
It's like a co-op.
It's a health insurance co-op. So it's much cheaper. Everybody pays into it, and it's really for kind of catastrophic care. Everything else is just pay out of pocket for basic stuff. So if there's any like catastrophic stuff, then you send the invoices to this co-op that everybody pays into, and then they make a decision on like how much they can help you with. So that's what we've been doing. But also here, now that they're Croatian citizens with Croatian passports and Croatian ID cards, you also qualify for Croatian national health insurance.
Yeah, I haven't done it yet, but it's an option.
Most memorable place I've visited. We always go back to Alaska now, just because Alaska, it was such a significant moment, at least within the last 5 years of our travels.
We used to say Eastern Sierras all the time, which we stopped because it got so blown up. We don't want to add to that.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, we used to say Eastern Sierras, and now it's like so crowded.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't go to the Eastern Sierras that much until maybe 5, 6, no, a little more than that now, actually. Jeez. 6 or 7 years ago, we started spending our falls in Eastern Sierra, and then spending our springs in Eastern Sierra. Anywhere from Lone Pine all the way up to, basically, like Lake Tahoe.
Yeah.
You know, just that whole stretch of the Eastern Sierra. Because it was like, so much of what we love has to do also with how uncrowded it is.
And
right?
if we're hanging out with somebody that we really connect with or meet in that place too.
It's our specific memories of the place.
It's memories of the feelings of how we felt with the people and the landscape, and it just like just a happy place all of a sudden for us. And that's Alaska, that's Eastern Sierras, that's, you know, we like the Keys in Florida.
Yeah.
You know, I really like
my
Savannah.
first time to the East Coast, I really loved Eastern Tennessee and Western North Carolina, basically along the Smoky Mountains. So if there was a place on the East Coast of the U.S., it would be most likely like near the Appalachian Mountains, near Great Smoky Mountains in the Appalachian Range, or like Georgia coast.
If I was going to buy a house and I had to be in a house, it'd be like Joshua Tree or Baja.
Yeah.
Because I'm like a beach and desert girl.
But I like the Rockies nowadays too. It's just, we gotta. That's also kind of really popular and played out. Like,
it's like, there's hardly a place that's not popular these days. Like, everybody's outdoors, which is awesome, but it also means everything's so crowded.
Places are getting destroyed, which is a shame. How do I find out more about the health co-op? Yes, it's based in the U.S. There are several different ones. We're not religious people, but usually these are like religious organizations that are based on, it's like religion. So they know. I don't know how it became that way. Like, why can there be other? There's probably other non-religious health co-ops, but the only ones that we looked at when we joined, there were like Christian co-ops or whatever.
Just Google. I know. I can't remember what ours is called. It's like just like Christian health co-op.
Yeah.
And it's one of those where you like fill out a form and then you can read all about it, what they offer.
Yeah, and I don't know. Like, we belong to the Elks Lodge too, and the reason why we did it is because there's free camping everywhere around the U.S. with Elks Lodges. And even with the Elks Lodges, you're supposed to be religious. They have a thing where they say that, do you believe in God and blah, blah, blah. And, and my take is that if you believe in God, then great, I mean, this is something that's right up my alley. But if you don't believe in God, and you're just trying to do it to get this kind of free camping benefits everywhere, do it too. Because if you don't believe in God, then there's no consequence for saying that you do, right? I think the opposite is true. If you believe and you say no, then that's a problem. But if you don't believe and you say yes, well, you just have to reconcile it within yourself. Like, is the benefit of, having either a health co-op or like,
but it's a great program.
Camping thing.
They provide a lot of help to the communities, so it's a great benefit for joining the Elks Lodge for ourselves, that they can help other people.
Yeah,
and we can help them help other people.
Yeah, the Joshua Tree. Holly's saying about the snow in Joshua Tree.
Oh, I know. I'm so pissed we missed it.
Oh, it looks so cool.
Yeah. Oh, I'd love to be there when it snowed. Our friends were there, the wee little nomads, and they were posting so many photos. I'm like, don't stop, don't stop.
Wait, I think everybody just went because they saw their snow, and then they just drove in there for photos. But they were actually camping there, staying there. But I mean, we love like the Pioneer Town area, which is also kind of played out. Like, there's just way too many LA hipsters and popular now. Like, when we first started going there, you could just walk in and like sit down at the table and have a meal. Nowadays, you gotta call, make a reservation like a week
Plan ahead. We're terrible at that.
We literally, the last time we went there and got on the waiting list and waited 3 hours to sit down.
But we have our camper to hang out at while everybody else doesn't.
Yeah. So, we have the luxury of doing that. And then our camper has beers inside. So we're just hanging out in there. But yeah, we used to go up to Pioneer Town a lot because that's a little higher elevation, a little bit cooler. And I've seen snow there, but never at the park. That was crazy. That was really cool. 10-foot walls of snow on the west shore of Lake Tahoe. That's crazy.
Yeah. Our friend Dave and Ann are there, and it's just, every time they post a photo of, like, I gotta dig out again.
Yeah.
It's so much work.
And I know how people are in California. They can't handle driving in weather, so I can't imagine how many car accidents there must be.
The tourists going up there.
Yeah, tourists from San Francisco. So...
You're zoning out, Dan.
I'm reading. Fireside chat.
Oh, I wish we had a campfire.
Oh.
I don't know where we're going to have a campfire.
Like, I don't know where it's legal to have a campfire.
Like, we had a campfire in, like, my grandparents' like a little cookhouse for Angela's birthday.
Oh yeah, in Croatia.
Yeah, in Croatia. But that
Well,
was
it was like your dad's stash of like barbecue wood.
Sorry, Dad.
Yeah. Our new FedEx guy. Oh, Ollie's saying that
People are getting lost.
people. Oh no! Does that mean that you lost your Amazon packages? That's disastrous. Yeah. Speaking of Amazon packages.
We're saving a lot of money with you not shopping on Amazon.
No. I'm doing a little shopping because my friend is flying from Orange County to Paris, and he's not on. I don't think, but he's gonna have some space in his luggage on his way back. No, he's bringing me some stuff that's actually much cheaper, or if not hard to get here in where we are. So it's like, you know, things break, things we figure out we need that we don't have. So our friend's visit's actually pretty key. We'll love to hang out with him. It'll be really fun hanging out with him in Paris. And I'm thinking actually that I've got a lot of videos to catch up on still, because I still got to do half of Albania, and then like the first way through northern Greece on YouTube, and then all of Turkey on YouTube, and then I'll get, you know, to like we're headed to Athens. We'll probably do a video while we're in Athens before we leave for Paris. I think what I want to do is do like almost daily vlogs, if not daily vlogs, in Athens, because we'll be in Airbnbs every night, and I think it would be perfect timing in Paris.
Yeah.
And I'll have my new computer the second week that we're there, so then I'll be able to like really put that computer to work, set it up, put that computer to work, because my friend's bringing me a new computer. My computer's dying, so I'll be able to like really put it to work and see what it's made of.
You got a lot of catch up to do before you can do daily.
Yeah, so that'll be the second week is when I'll do daily. So hopefully the first week we're in Paris, I'll be able to shoot some stuff, catch up on all the videos that I've shot but haven't edited, and then that second week hopefully I'll try to do daily. So we'll see how that goes, and I hope you guys will all come and watch that. Let's see. He stands in the street yelling our name because he can't see the cabin.
Creative Holly! Get your package!
You should take Van to New Zealand. Friends just finished up a year and 6 months there.
Oh.
Cool.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Yeah, I would love to go to New Zealand and Australia.
What?
I have heard that shipping to Australia is really tricky, that this is just hearsay, that somebody, that they want to make sure that it's spotless, totally clean, no dirt. They don't want foreign dirt coming on. I heard that they would ship your car back without you knowing and have you pay for it if it's dirty. But then I just heard from somebody that said, oh no, it's just a fee. They just charge you to clean it for you, which I'm fine with. I can do that. I'll do as good of a job as I can cleaning it. If it's still not good enough, if all they do is clean it for me and I just pay them for the cleaning, that's totally doable. So I would do that. Daily vlog in Athens. I would try to do some vlogs in Athens for sure. I think the daily thing will come in Paris, and if I can get into a good rhythm in Paris, and then I'll come back from Paris with my new laptop, which should make it. My big problem right now is this computer is like 7 years old, and the battery's not holding a charge real well, and I have to plug it in, and the fan kicks on a lot, and it's just slow. So with the new computer, if it all works out well, I can set it up right. Daily vlogs is more realistic. Dak says, quick question for your 170 Sprinter. How hard is it to park around towns in the U.S.?
Compared to Europe, it seems like there's plenty of room.
Yeah. After Europe, piece of cake.
You just have to park far away and walk.
Yeah.
Which is what we do.
Which is fine. You can technically fit in a single parking space, but it's much better if you can pull in further. And then, like, if there's, like, a parking lot that you can have two going like this, take two. That's better. Barbie Live's going to Zion. Awesome. Zion's awesome. We've only been there once.
Yeah.
So when we get back, I'm looking forward to doing some just, you know, traveling. When we take this back to the U.S. before we figure out what we're gonna do next, I'm looking forward to taking whatever that time frame is to kind of drive around the U.S. in this, without a destination. You
Unless
know,
we ship somewhere around here, then we're not going to ship to U.S. and then ship all the way back.
direct.
Yeah.
If we ship from here to Australia or something, for example. Yeah, we'll see.
What's your favorite rig so far?
What's my favorite rig?
They've all served like such different purposes.
Ooh, Dax is about to buy a 170 Sprinter this weekend. No way. Well, 4x4 or just two-wheel drive? You know what? Marlene knows me well enough to know that, like, I love getting people to buy something, like, because it gives me the same almost the same satisfaction as like going shopping for cool stuff myself, without spending the money, and then without having to, like, you know, find a place to put it. So yeah, that's really cool. I hope you find the perfect van. Let's see.
Like, which was their favorite rig? It's hard to have a favorite. Like, they all serve different purposes. Like, the Airstream got us into this lifestyle. It was nice for figuring it out with newborns.
I think we'll always have an Airstream. We'll always have, as far as we know right now, we'll always have our Airstream that we have now. There's a very good chance that we will redo a vintage Airstream at some point in our lives.
We're always
On top of our other Airstream. Yeah. So if we ever do buy a property that for us to live and settle down, most likely it will be a piece of land somewhere with like a small building that we can renovate, and then so we'll be able to park our Airstream there, and maybe another vintage Airstream. South Africa, long ways down, I know, but it's awesome, very well developed, good exchange rate. Yeah, I don't know how easy it would be for us to drive all the way to South Africa from Morocco, for example. I'm sure it's doable.
But with ultra low diesel, we didn't research anything.
Yeah.
Like how the diesel is on the way down with a new Sprinter.
The A-to-A people are doing it right now.
But they're in an old vehicle.
Yeah, they're in a Defender, which is kind of
made for like
that
kind of
place.
Like an older badass thing, and we have this like newer car.
Yeah, our thing is for like developed countries or developing countries bordering developed countries.
Unless we get rid of this whole system illegally, then we can do it.
Yeah, we'll see. There's ways to do it.
Yeah.
Tulsa, of course, Sharon. When we're back in the U.S.
First stop,
Tulsa. We've been through Tulsa a couple of times.
Don't tell her that.
Do you have planned route through Europe? What 3 countries are you most excited in Europe? Okay. Norway?
Yeah, but we're kind of doing like this upside down U shape. Like right now, like we're in Greece, but we're going to slowly go up Scandinavia, next winter, Spain, Portugal, Morocco.
Yeah.
And then in between those 2 winter spots, kind of fill it in.
Yeah. It's a counterclockwise move. But I would say I'm very excited to see Scandinavia. Whether it's Norway, Finland, or Sweden, Denmark. But Scandinavia I'm very excited about just because it's like Europe's Alaska, you know? So it's wild, it's north, it has midnight sun in the summertime, it has northern lights in the wintertime. I want to install the Webasto heater so that there's a chance that in October we may drive back up after we leave. If we can make sure that we can stay warm, I would love to go back up into Norway and just to stay a couple of weeks, just to stare at northern lights every night.
I'm excited for Morocco.
Yeah. I say the 3 countries right now. If I have to say, like, I'm still very excited about Norway because that's as far north as you can go, drive to. So that northern part, whatever that bay, North Bay, whatever bay is. And then Morocco and Turkey, even though Morocco and Turkey, neither of those are in Europe. And Norway's not even in EU. So none of those three countries are in the EU, and two of them are not even in Europe.
I'm excited to go back to France just for the food.
Yeah, but we'll be there for 2 weeks next week. So, okay, Dax is getting a 2-wheel drive. That's awesome, because if you don't need 4-wheel drive, I would say we don't really even need 4-wheel drive. But
that was
Marlene insisted.
That was my requirement for this van.
Most people probably thought that I wanted the 4-wheel drive because I do most of the driving, and that I want the 4-wheel drive, and I do. But I'm also the one who's like very budget conscious, which is a nice way of saying cheap.
And I have a lot of anxiety about getting stuck, and so that's what I needed for myself. Yeah,
but in retrospect, like, I think it's good that we got it, and we're lucky to have found this one without having to wait.
It's good for resale value.
If we do sell it, it's good for resale value.
Not that we're thinking about selling it.
Yeah. Will we do anything differently? So we get asked this a lot. I wouldn't do anything differently. I wish I had more time to do more while we could.
Like, I wish I had time to build out our screens, because right now we don't have screens, but it's fine because it's not bug season. But as soon as the bugs come out, I'm going to be freaking out.
Yeah.
And you wanted to do the diesel heater.
Which we'll still do, so that's what I mean.
We don't need, but it's an expense thing and time thing that we held off on.
Well, it will turn this from like a 2-season camper to a 3-season camper. Because I would say this is not a middle of the summer in like extreme heat camper either.
Yeah.
So it's not good for super, super hot places and not good for super, super cold places. So I would say it's spring, it's fall, and it's in between those other seasons as well. It can handle a fair amount of heat and cold in either direction, but not the extreme of both. Yeah. But if we're able to get a diesel heater, then we can handle, more coldness.
But the layout is exactly what we wanted, and it works
perfectly.
Fine. And we're happy with the decision of not having a permanent dining table bed conversion things. I'm so happy not to convert a bed every day.
Yeah.
So this is our first camper where I don't have to convert a bed. That's
and
awesome.
When you say that you're feeling like your back hurt, but it's not so much crawling in and out. It's more just I think we need a thicker foam.
And it's cold, and my joints hurt when it's cold weather. So I think
cold too
once
right now,
it's not cold, I won't be as sore climbing. And I keep bumping my head too. I'm very clumsy, and my head is full of bruises, like from this shell, from that shell. I just can't get used to it.
It's not actually bruised. Is it actually bruised?
Yeah, I have bruises, so sometimes I touch my head, I'm like, oh, I hit my head on that stupid thing.
But when you hit it, it doesn't seem like you hit that hard. But you just easily bruised.
Very sensitive.
Very sensitive. Check out
Kaka
Arctic Resort for Northern Lights.
All right.
Okay.
I'll write that on the list.
Okay. Huh.
Yeah, no spiders.
I just assume that once the sun stops coming out in Norway, there'll just be Northern Lights.
Well, that's what we thought in Alaska too. We only saw one day.
Which is true, because we didn't stay that late. That was like the last week before we left Alaska. You could tow your Airstream with a Sprinter when you get back. Do you meet many North American RVers like you? So we can tow the Airstream with this Sprinter, but I wouldn't do it full time. I will use it to tow our Airstream to move it from one place to another. But because this is a unibody construction, I don't feel as confident in its ability to handle a lot of like jolts and bumps and movement side to side kind of stuff. Just because like a body on frame kind of setup in a typical American truck can handle that kind of stuff way better. Whereas like when you have a unibody van, when you have to make any sudden stops or turns and stuff like that jolting, that dynamic movement, all you need is like a little too much force going in one direction to kind of tweak that unibody frame to cause irreversible damage. So if I'm just going from one place to another, I know I'm on the freeway the whole time. There's not a lot of stop and go traffic and crazy turns and dirt roads and stuff. Then I'm fine doing it. But to tow the Airstream, to tow something that's 7,000 pounds full time, I think it would be bad for this.
I would get like a little vintage one.
Yeah,
it's a
small
lot lighter
one.
and easier to tow.
Yeah. We met some North American folks, not a lot. Honestly, we've not met a lot of people, period, until like these last 2 weeks. You know, in fact, this last week. We met 3 families,
Well,
2 families and a couple.
Before that, we met Hair Adventures, which are half American, half British.
But we met him before.
Albania.
We met him before. She's American, he's British. And they have a son that's younger. He's like 3?
A year.
2?
A year.
Not even 2?
I don't know.
Little. We're actually going to see them tomorrow. They're in Athens right now.
Okay.
So we're going to camp with Hair Ventures. They're called Hair Ventures on Instagram. Check them out. She takes great photos, you know, so check them out. And nowadays, because she's a mom with a 1-year-old, she takes a lot of photos of her kid. So if you're into that, that's perfect. Kind of like us, we take a lot of photos of our kids.
And then we met.
Well, we saw our friends Bodeswell here.
Yeah.
Which we'll see them again when we come back from Paris.
American family.
Yep.
And in Turkey, we met 3 different.
Yeah, we met the Romanian family.
Romanian family. We met a Canadian couple in a van again.
Yep.
Live, play, travel.
Live, travel, live, play. Look at our Instagram photo with Luca wearing the Doritos armor, and they're in the background. We also met Vida, which is a Czech family.
Yeah, but he's asking about North American.
Yeah, North American.
So we met Guru Camper, and then World Towning. We're as American family as well.
Yeah, World Towning is they're from East Coast.
Thank you, Sharon, for the DM. I'll check it out after the live stream.
Cool. We will mark that on our things to do. So, Mog vehicles, yeah, the Univot Mogs are actually really cool, but you know what? I don't think they're really that practical.
Yeah, I think we're too big for some of the places we've been. Like, I think if we're I don't want another beer.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm so glad we're not towing a trailer in Europe. I'll tell you that much. But to be something bigger than this, I just have I'm anxious. So I'm glad we're this size. I'm glad that we switched from the Ford and the 4-wheel camper setup, because we would be 6 inches wider. And some of the tolls we went through. No, I didn't. You can finish mine if you want.
Yeah, I'm done. The backwash?
Is that backwash is half good?
Oh yeah, yours is not very far down.
So I'm glad. Mogs are awesome, but I'd be too scared to drive around Europe.
Yeah, our friends Brad and Oksana used to have a $500,000 world expedition. What is it called? Global expedition vehicle.
Yeah.
They used to be called Perky Mog. I don't know if you guys ever follow them. Perky Mog. We met them in Alaska too. We first saw them, I think, just outside of Laird Hot Springs. Drinking Marlene's backwash. Actually, there's like this much beer left, so can't be that much backwash. But yeah, so they usually don't let people take videos or pictures of the inside of their Mog, but I think she liked us enough, and she let me take some videos. So if you go back to our Alaska videos on our YouTube channel, you'll see one episode of our Alaska video that has us checking out the inside of their Mog, which is really cool. How different, Sean says, how different do you think you guys are now than if you followed the path of living in a house full time? I don't even know. I can't even imagine. I mean, the whole thing about living in a house full time is, in California, anyways, where we were living, is to make enough money to make ends meet, right? So part of what we're doing is to get out of that rat race, but obviously still be able to support ourselves with enough work. And like I was saying earlier, like you make these small decisions in your career along the way to kind of make that happen. So a lot of that meant like not taking a promotion, not taking the pay raise, not taking on more responsibilities, deciding to spend more time at home, less time working, and all those different things. But I think we would definitely have more money. I think we would definitely be farther along in our careers. We might even be more career minded. We might be living in a bigger city, working more. We might have kids in private schools. We might have kids, like going to piano lessons, guitar lessons, drum lessons, whatever they want to do, dance lessons. Our kids will know a lot of stuff, but it'll all be stuff that they learned from books. So, that's a good option for a lot of people.
It would just be different.
Yeah. And I don't think it's bad. A lot of people do that. In fact, that's what my brother does. My brother and his wife, they make like a really good 6-figure income, each of them. And, they live in the Bay Area. Their kids go to private schools, and, they have some help in the house because they have to work, but they seem to be happy doing what they do. So yeah, it would be different. It would for sure be different. And we would think differently. Like our mindset would be totally different. We may, I don't know, we may be those people that say that we shouldn't do this. Who knows? Because the thing is, we weren't those people like that graduated college and like took off and backpacked across Europe. When we graduated college, like we wanted to buy a house.
We missed the deal, Jeep.
Yeah, we miss having a buffet every meal for lunch. No, but we wanted to buy a house. We wanted to do the American dream. We wanted to go get jobs. So, yeah. Holly says it's the California struggle. She's a freelance web designer, husband, both home with 7-year-old, thinking about moving out of California so we can have things. Yeah. I mean, it's tough to be in California. So, I don't know. I think a lot of people feel that. A lot of people are leaving because of it. The time with your family is worth it. The rat race, you don't get the quality. Well, I mean, it's true. You only live once, right? So if you think about the life that you're living now, are you happy with what you have? Like, honestly, I think I've said this before, and I thought about it, in the past too. It's like, if something were to happen to me, I would have much less regrets about what I've done with my life than if I hadn't been doing this. So, of course, I don't want anything to happen to any of us, but for sure.
Sharon's trying to recruit Holly.
Well, Sharon knows the Tahoe life. Sharon used to live in Lake Tahoe too. In Tulsa, I think, especially where Sharon lives, it's really nice. Yeah, a lot of people are leaving California, and
all of our surrounding states are so mad. Like Oregon's mad, and Idaho's really mad for all these Californians.
Yeah. Is Arizona mad? I don't know if Arizona's mad. I don't think Arizona's not mad.
I know Idaho and Oregon's mad.
We have family, and all of our family is in California, so we still go to California. But we own a couple properties in California still, because before we left, we had a house that we didn't sell. And then when we did sell it, we didn't just put our money away. We ended up buying a couple other properties we bought one for income, and 6 years ago we bought another one, thinking that we were done traveling. So then up until like this last year, we still had 2 California properties, and fortunately they've done well. But this year we decided, or last year we decided we were done. The market's up, and we felt like that we were gonna get out while we could. So we sold both of our California properties. So we don't own property in California anymore. But we do own in Arizona. We bought a place in Arizona that we rent short term for income. So that's worked out really good.
And we rent out our Airstream on Airbnb as well.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's been helpful too. Holly's born in Dodge City, Kansas.
No, Dodge City. I don't think we drove through
Cowboy.
Dude,
we were going to go through Dodge City.
My dad's a big Cowboy fan, so he's disappointed we didn't.
Do we worry about vehicle breakdowns?
No, that's why we bought a new vehicle.
Exactly what I was going to say. We do. That's why we bought new.
So we have so many friends with old like VWs, and they're like constantly like, okay, we can't leave today. We gotta wait for a part. We gotta fix something. And to balance that and homeschooling and you working for a company and having to be on the computer working.
And it's also exactly why we decided that we were gonna sell the F-250 with the 4-wheel camper and go with the Sprinter, specifically because we're coming to Europe. Because I was concerned that nobody would be able to know how to work on the F-250 pickup truck here. And we've not seen a single one. I know some of them exist. We saw a Dodge Ram truck in Croatia. And that guy stuck out like a sore thumb.
It was pimped out too.
Yeah. But we've not seen a single F-Series 4 truck. I know people have them because I've seen there's a guy on Instagram that has one. He's just like, I asked him before we sold the 4-wheel camper. I asked him like, "Oh, you have one in Europe? Like, how easy is it to get it serviced?" He's like, "It's really hard." So that's why we got this. So we know that at least it's a European car. We can get it serviced. Wow. So if Holly, you lived in San Francisco for a decade. In Tahoe for 4 years, you really feel the pain. I lived in San Francisco for about a year. I never lived in San Francisco. My brother had a place. I lived on the East Bay. I rented a room at a house in the East Bay, and then I commuted to San Francisco. And then shortly after, my brother moved to San Francisco while I was there, but he actually rented a place in Daly City. So then I spent a lot of time in Daly City at his place while I worked in downtown San Francisco. But that's how my brother got to the Bay Area, and he's still there. I left.
What was the city that you lived in?
Daly City.
No, you.
Concord.
Oh yeah, Concord.
Yeah, it's kind of the armpit of the East Bay. It was cheap. I was young. Is your place in Arizona a home base too? Like you have some belongings, or do you take a break?
No,
no belongings.
No, nothing.
Well, now, so just before we came to Europe, we had some stuff in Marlene's parents' house.
We have a lot of stuff at my parents' house.
No. We have more than we could reasonably like hide under beds and in closets. So we put it all in the van on our way going east before we shipped the van on the East Coast. We went to our place in Arizona, and then we stuffed them in the cabinets in the garage. So there's some stuff there, but not really what we would call belongings. When we're there, we've spent like a couple weeks there after we bought it and after we like decorated it and set it up for Airbnb. When we're there, it feels like we're on vacation. It feels like we're renting it.
We owned it for, I think, less than a year, maybe exactly a year.
Yeah, just about a year ago we did it. So we were doing that and buying the van, building the van at about the same time.
Setting up the Airstream too.
Yeah.
Richmond.
Oh, cool. Yeah, so she's Holly's San Francisco local. My old business partner and also my friend from from high school also moved to the Bay Area. Also moved to San Francisco, in the Marina area. So, and this was a long time ago when I was there too. I don't know how different it is now. I'm sure it's very different. But when I was living there, the plan was always for Marlene to move. When we met in Santa Barbara, and then we started working in Santa Barbara, and I got a job up in the Bay Area. Moved up there. This is during like the 99 just before the dot-com crash of 99. And then Marlene was supposed to move up, and then she claims that she couldn't find a job. So I quit my job to move back. But I don't know. Has she come up to the Bay Area, we may not have ever done this either. Is income from the place reliable? It is in the winter. So where we bought is a big time snowbird place. So in the winter time, right now, it's doing really good income, but it's work. You know, we have to constantly manage it. We have to pay people to clean. We have to pay people to help us out. So, but it's work, but it's still reliable in the winter time. In late fall, winter, and early spring, we make most of our money, and then in the summer, we just hope we break even. In Vancouver, BC struggle. Yeah, Vancouver is crazy too. It's expensive. My friend who's a fireman passed on the chief money promotion because of lack of freedom. Well, good for him. I mean, when you work for like a big city job like that, though, that's tough, right? Because, I mean, that could mean really comfortable retirement. So that's the hard one for him to pass on, I'm sure. A lot of good clients and endless work. All of my work is still from it. I'm sure that's awesome, you know, because if you do graphic design for San Francisco clients and you can live anywhere, why live in San Francisco? I mean, some people love San Francisco and don't want to leave. But unless you can own a place, unless you bought a place a long time ago and your mortgage is relatively cheap, then you can't live it that much. The only other people that I know that live there and love it and can afford it is living in a rent control apartment. Yeah, childcare more than, yeah. Even if it's the same, at the end of the day, it's like, why have one of the spouses working and had every dime go to pay for somebody else watching your kid? Unless you're really getting something out of, going to work. Some people do. Is Airbnb better return than steady long-term lease? In our case, yes. Usually, if you have the right kind of place, you can expect double compared to a long-term lease. Is it paying mortgage? We pay mortgage.
Yeah,
it pays mortgage and it brings us income. Yeah, for sure. You're welcome, Nathan. I'm glad we're able to help out, and thank you again for your generosity. I'm blown away.
Getting tired.
Yeah. Almost 3 hours. Okay, so I think this was a fun live stream.
Yeah.
You guys had fun. We had fun.
Yeah, thanks for asking questions and leaving comments.
I still have this whole thing of backwash that I haven't touched yet. Yeah, so I would do my best to try to get the rest of Albania videos up. I think the next one will be Berat, Albania, which I'll work on. We had a really good time in Berat. Berat's a really cool place. And then a little bit of Greece. Oh, Meteora.
Oh yeah, Meteora.
That's a really cool place. And then we'll be on to Turkey.
Istanbul, Cappadocia.
So stay tuned for all that. It should be coming in the next week or two. So thank you guys, and I know that it's middle of the day for a lot of you, so you guys probably have to get back to doing whatever it is that you were doing before we rudely interrupted your day. Oh, Marjorie! I didn't see Marjorie comment yet there right now, but I guess she was on this whole time. Well, thank you guys. Thank you guys again.
Yeah, thank you.
And we will see you guys in the next live stream. And we're going to record another podcast for those of you that listen to our podcasts. Our podcast is mullenbeach.com/podcast. And what we've been doing is just after we leave every country, we'll do about an hour to talk about everything that we experience in that country. So those of you that have been in this live stream when we were talking about Turkey, you kind of got a lot of what we were saying, but we have specific notes.
Yeah, we'll lay it out.
That we wrote down about the things that we thought was notable. So we'll do a full podcast on that next time. But we're also hoping to get World Towning on as an interview. We've not done an interview yet.
Yeah. So
hopefully we'll do an interview with the World Towning folks that we just met. So, oh, Lori's from Arizona. Well, thank you. Thank you for watching our live stream.
You.
So yeah, that's it. And hopefully we'll do another live stream from the next live stream, maybe from Paris.
Yeah.
Depending on how good the Wi-Fi is there, we'll do a live stream from Paris with you guys. So, well, that's it. If you guys are not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. We appreciate it. And thank you guys all for your support. This has been really fun.
Yeah. Thanks for watching.
And have a good rest of your day. For those of you that are in the U.S. and everybody else, if it's nighttime, good night. We're going to get ready for bed.
Yeah, it's almost midnight.
Yeah.
Slowing down here.
Yeah, but once we get to Paris, it'll be 11 o'clock. All right. Good night, guys.
Good night.